4 nights ago, the Pittsburgh Penguins and Edmonton Oilers swapped goaltenders. Tristan Jarry to Edmonton, Stuart Skinner to Pittsburgh. Now, both of them face off against their former teams tonight. On a night which could see Sidney Crosby tie Mario Lemieux in points among the all-time NHL leaderboard, and or Leon Draisaitl reaching 1,000 career points. Hello everyone, I'm Alec Nava, John Ott joining here shortly. And it's good to be back covering NHL games here. Jarry is facing his former team for the first time since being traded alongside former first-round pick Sam Poulin from the Penguins to the Oilers for Skinner, Brett Kulak, and a 2029 second-round draft pick. In his Edmonton debut, he made 25 saves against the Toronto Maple Leafs in a 6-3 victory. Another player making his debut for the Oilers being Quinn Hutson, the eldest of the Hudson brothers, that being of him, Lane, Cole, and Lars. Quinn's expected to play after being recalled from the AHL's Bakersfield Condors, and both Skinner and Kulak each will make their Penguins debuts after being added to the active roster yesterday. They were unable for a weekend set of back-to-back games because of immigration issues. Jack St. Ivany will also make his season debut. He has not played since blocking a shot of his right foot during a preseason game on October 1st. To go to our starting lines, beginning with the Oilers, the visitors. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, Vasily Podkolzin, Leon Draisaitl, Matt Savoy, Andrew Mangiapane, Adam Henrique, Matthias Janmark, and Trent Frederick, Curtis Lazar, Quinn Hutson. On the defense pairings are Matthias Ekholm with Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse with Alec Regula, Spencer Stastny, who was acquired from Nashville for a third-round pick, alongside Ty Emberson. Jarry to start, Calvin Pickard to back up the healthy scratches, Riley Stillman, Max Jones, and David Tomashek. The Penguins lineups consist of Ricard Raquel, Sidney Crosby, Brian Rust, Rutger McGroarty, Ben Kindle, Justin Brazo, Kevin Hayes, Tommy Novak, Anthony Mantha, and Connor Dewar, Danton Heinen, Noah Chari. For defense pairings, Parker Wotherspoon with Eric Carlson, Ryan Shea with Chris Letang, and Brett Kulak with Jack St. Ivany. Skinner is the starter, Artur Shilovs to back up. The healthy scratches are Ryan Graves, Ville Koivunen, and Connor Clifton. So entering this game between the Pens and Oilers, it is the final night of the Pens homestand, and what has been a very bizarre week where they have seen blown leads left and right. They allowed a game-tying goal to the Anaheim Ducks with 0.1 seconds left from Beckett Seneca, then blew a 5-1 lead to the San Jose Sharks, lost 6-5 in overtime on a gorgeous play between Macklin Celebrity and John Klingberg, the former Dallas Star and former Edmonton Oiler. And most recently, blown a 3-0 lead, once again the third period, to the Utah Mammoth and lost 5-4 in overtime despite a game-tying goal. The Pens are not the only team that struggled blowing leads this season. The Oilers have gone to 15 third periods with a lead and suffered 4 overtime losses in that stretch. However, Edmonton has gotten points in 5 of their last 6 games, although most recently coming off a 4-1 loss to the Montreal Canadiens. The Oilers have alternated their last 2 games between Jarry and Pickard. Pickard was the goaltender, and he's been having a dreadful year as the backup goaltender with a .851 save percentage and a .406 GAA. So there's a chance that both Jarry and Skinner get the nod beforehand, and they are both getting the starting gig for their respective clubs now. It's a mid-December game with teams from different conferences. They normally don't have this many storylines, but this tilt has a lot of juicy angles. Draisaitl can become the 20th fastest player to reach 1,000 career points, while Crosby is 2 points shy of tying Lemieux for first on the Penguins franchise scoring list and 8th overall among NHL scorers. Man, John, it's been a long time. It's been a while. How are you doing?
Yeah, since really the beginning of the season for us both, you've been busy with finals, been busy with all the Shark stuff, and Cooper's been everywhere. So we really haven't been able to link up on the mic, but I'm glad you're able to send the invite today. Again, I apologize about the lack of the NBA Cup stuff on Prime, but when you sent me the amount of storylines from the beat writer Josh Yohei, I mean, I couldn't believe what we're seeing today. I was already thinking about the goaltending matchup, but Sid's going to be breaking some records when Mario's in the building.
Yeah, and also with Draisaitl getting one step closer to 1,000, he's just a point away. You mentioned about Sidney Crosby. Mario's in the building. That's special if he does get the 2 points, or even the 3 points to pass him.
So what do you say about the Pittsburgh Penguins at the beginning of the year, Alec? You and I talked about it. We didn't know if they were going to be a playoff team, but you still have some good pieces. Again, it's been a very busy essentially from the beginning of the year, and Kyle Dubas, I think, has done a decent job. But over the last set of 5, 0-1-4, in third period blown leads against the Sharks and the Mammoth.
Yeah, the blown leads are painful, all right. But that doesn't take away from the surprising start the Pens have had to start the year. Out the gates of a 3-0 shutout on opening night against the New York Rangers. And everybody's like, well, that's unexpected. And yes, it is, because this Pens team is coming to the season with no expectations. The expectation was the development of the youth. Ben Kindle made the opening night roster, and he's being kept along for the full season, which is a surprise for me, because if he were to get some NHL games, I expected he would get 9 games and then get loaned back to juniors, not get kept for the full season. But now that Evgeny Malkin is out for some time, keeping Kindle was an absolute must, given the start that he's had, and he's been a blessing for the Pens.
Yeah, as you talk about some of the injury line, there's been a lot of them today. So Caleb Jones, Malkin, as you said, and Blake Lizotte for Edmonton. It's all over the place. You got Jake Wallman, the former San Jose Shark Red Wing, but then Roslovic, Kapanen, Noah Phillip, and Klatenberg as well. So 4 forwards and a defenseman. Yeah, honestly, I look at the back-end line for Pittsburgh, and you talk about Arthur Shelovs, who won a Calder with Abbotsford, and then Sergei Murashov. I think Stuart Skinner comes in at the right time. I watched the Edmonton Oilers against the Red Wings just a few days ago when I covered that off the back-to-back. I thought Stuart Skinner played one of his best games, and now he gets to play with a different defensive line around him.
Yeah, he does, behind a young, opportunistic defense as we get started. And I know I didn't get a chance if you want to take this first period, or not to ask you if you want to take this first period or not. Do you want to take it so that we alternate between?
Alec, you lead off.
All right, then. So here we go. So they are getting Wotherspoon and Carlson at the back-end defense to begin this game for the Pens. And it's a top-line Rust, Raquel, and Crosby on the ice together. The present Captain Canada and the future Captain Canada up against one another. Another storyline, knowing that the Olympics are coming up. And these two are locks to get into the Olympic roster. Here is Leon Draisaitl, who is a lock to get into Germany's roster. The far corner, Matt Savoy, in his first full-time season with the Oilers, acquired from Buffalo in exchange for Ryan McLeod. That essentially a 1-for-1 swap, in which Savoy, a former first-round pick. McLeod's doing well in Buffalo, by the way. Savoy, being on the same line as Draisaitl, perhaps could be the best possible thing for him, given that he needs to live up to his draft status. Letang is the first one back at the defensive zone. Finds Shea, but immediately is picked up back by Draisaitl. Fighting Nurse. Waits a bit. Tries to pass across. There was a stick there. No clean shooting lane for Podkolzin. The Pens will restart their own zone with Stuart Skinner, the Edmonton, Alberta native, in the crease. The pass out of the reach, and it's an icing with the head up the air by Jarry.
So again, you kind of wonder in between Jarry and Stuart Skinner what the nerves are going to be. That's the one thing that we always talk about. But both of these teams also know their goaltenders very well. So you hope that guys like Sidney Crosby, Leon Draisaitl, and Connor McDavid don't show up their netliners and give up too many breaks.
Well, something cool before the game, John, is that Connor McDavid came up to Stuart Skinner before the game, wishing him good luck. It can be tough being with a new team immediately after getting traded, and especially having to face the team that traded you on one of your first games back, or in the case of Skinner, on your first game in your new team. It has to be nerve-wracking, as here's Mangiapane on the takeaway off of Kulak, who needs to have a bounce back after the nightmare start to his season. Perhaps a trade to Pittsburgh could do him wonders. Kindle wants to lead it inside, wearing the same jersey number as Phil Kessel from those Stanley Cup winning years in 16 and 17. Emerson has it, right behind Jarry, the now former Penguin, his second game with Edmonton. He allowed 3 goals to Toronto in his first game with Edmonton, but he was credited with the win. Otherwise, a solid job. Connor Dewar on the fourth line, shot wide. So far, no shots on goal as here's Carlson to Wotherspoon and then back. Erik Karlsson, long shot, was blocked away. The Oilers trying to get it out. Puck bouncing in front, picked up by Novak, and that one too, airmailed. Novak and Regula in pursuit. Regula fought it away, and Edmonton will move it up from right to left. Quinn Hudson making his Oilers debut this season, older brother of Lane and Cole Hudson. Anthony Mantha takes it in wide. Regula forces him back. Here's Wotherspoon holding on. He's been out there for a while. Karlsson off the side of the cage. The Edmonton picks it up. The Oilers want to get it out. And here's McDavid. What can 97 do with Hyman and RNH? Taken away by the Pens. They'll bring it back 2-on-2. Kerwin drag shot. Kicked out by Jarry. First shot on goal. And Russ slowed up a bit. We stay 5-on-5. The Oilers moving up the ice right to left. McDavid trying to split the defense. Shea falls down. Gets back on his feet. Bouchard fakes the shot. Loads up for the slot. Fired wide off the glass. Picked up by Hyman. Hyman wanting to go to work. Kicks it back out right point. Bouchard and Al Ekholm, the ex-Nashville Predator. Ekholm moves it around. Hyman got shoved away. Keeping it in is RNH for a moment. Whiffed on the pass. And the Pens get this one out. Might want to go for a change. It bounced up. Grabbed down by Chris Letang. And the Oilers get it out off of Ekholm. Restarting now is Jarry. Moving back is Shea. As they're going to change it, rather that's Kulak, another former Oiler. He grew up at Stony Point, which is to the west of Edmonton. The Pens fired in from the far side, blocked by Emberson. And the Penguins are trying to snap a 5-game home losing streak. And that includes those blown leads, 5-1 to the Sharks and 3-0 to the Mammoth. Ouch. Karlsson moves it up near side. Near the penalty box doors, Danton Heinen shoved away by Emberson. Duer trying to catch up to the puck, and this reaches Jarry where he gloves it down.
It's not a bad start in this game, as you mentioned. It's not a lot of shots, 2 for Pittsburgh, nothing yet for Edmonton. Again, you're a little bit ahead of me, so I'll back you up here for this first before we split in the second. I'll let you close the third. I'm just looking forward to this, and also, you mentioned Buffalo very early in your broadcast from McLeod and some of the players that have moved. You got Jarmo Kekalainen as the new GM. We'll be talking about that during the first intermission.
And a lot more about that with Jarmo Kekalainen, what direction Buffalo wants to go with, especially now that they have Kekalainen. Folks starting to draw, and Ben Kindle is going to be waved out. That means Justin Brazo will now take the face-off. It's Henrico wins it. This young line being centered by Kindle, and with him are McGroarty and the former Boston Bruin Justin Brazo. Moved up, Henrique, pressured by Brazo, wants to get away, does, to Nurse. Darnell Nurse shoots it in from the red line, right around Skinner, picked up by Kulak to St. Ivany. Jack St. Ivany trying to clear the zone, but can't. The loose puck picked up by Janmark, breaks Kulak's ankles and goes to Mangiapane, the former Calgary Flame. Backhands one left point to Nurse, and then across to Regula. Here is Janmark taking care of it at a high slot. Nurse waits, loads up, fires, kick saved by Skinner. And it takes some time to get used to as Regula lifts one up high. Held in by Nurse and then going across again. Moving up is Janmark. Janmark waits, feeds it back over to Henrique. Regula to Nurse one more time. He loads up again, fires wide again. Might have went off of Skinner's blocker. Still not used to seeing Skinner in a Penguins uniform now, based on all those years with the Oilers and the back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. The Pens pick it up in their own zone, and they clear it out. They'll get some changes, both teams. Spencer Stastny, the former Nashville Predator, he was acquired by Edmonton for a third-round pick. Gets it back, but turns it over. Moving up is Rust, and here's Raquel. Raquel on the left circle. He falls down. He'll pick it back up. That might be a penalty against the Oilers. Here is Karlsson walking the point. Karlsson going to Crosby. Russ fakes the one-timer. Now it's 6-on-5. Delay penalty against the Oilers. The Pens will go to the power play once the Oilers touch up. And this will not be the case if the Penguins score. Here's Crosby. Crosby gets this one back over to Karlsson. He waits. Goes across the point. Karlsson looking for a shooting lane. Trying to find Mantha. Cannot. He instead defers to Wotherspoon. Wotherspoon fires. Rebound. Knocked away. And the Oilers will be short-handed. We'll get the call.
Gotta like that patience there, Alec, though, from the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know they have the extra off of that trip. They're able to take their time. They had Crosby out in front there, Tristan Jarry, and we'll see who's going to go. Maybe it's Matthias Ekholm.
It is Ekholm in this battle, and what could be a precursor to a battle between Sweden and Finland in the Olympics, given Raquel and Ekholm. Raquel and Ekholm, they share they share some similarities.
I'm going to be interested to talk about that once we get closer. I'm hoping now, like again, as we've kind of discussed back and forth on X here, whether or not we can make it for February, which we're both planning on doing. But I did see a lot of the stuff in Italy. They're saying that the rink might be 3 feet shorter than the NHL standard. And that kind of makes me wonder if it's going to be a hit parade.
I may think about that too. The rink size is no big deal, but it gives more leeway to increased physicality on the ice. That could be intriguing.
Yeah, it'll be something to look out for. And again, as we talk about it and it gets closer, you also think about Matthew Tkachuk coming back for the Florida Panthers. And boy, oh boy, so you've seen the way they played against the Bolts the other day. Happen to feel, Alec, that they're coming. They're starting to get the charge back, I think.
In a jam-packed Atlantic division, the Florida needed that victory, though a lot of discussion being on that hit from Seth Jones on Brandon Hagel. And, of course, there's also a fair discussion about the Department of Player Safety to be had.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that going forward between those two teams. I mean, you and I talked about a little bit in the preseason game that was absolutely ridiculous that those two teams had. They needed to save that for something else. It just looked like a football game more than anything. But we got a loaded NHL scoreboard today, and I just want to say this openly, even though it's only 1-0 Islanders, thank God the Red Wings don't have to play them anymore because they might be swept 0-3-0 in the season series.
And here's something nice. There's a trippy video given from the Penguins to Tristan Jarry for everything that he's given to this team, to this city. And even though many are going to point the finger at him for 2021, he gave it his all in 2022 in that one playoff game he started. Game 7, and only allowed 4 goals. It's hard to pinpoint a playoff performance based on him starting a game in which he played through a foot injury and was walking off the ice with a cast on his foot. On this power play, the Oilers, they clear all the way down, and Edmonton needs to get their penalty kill up and going. They haven't been typically one of the best penalty kill teams in the NHL, just barely below 80%. Of course, it needs to get better. They do clear it out this time. Crosby takes his patience with it, and the Pens will go to work on this drop pass. Erik Karlsson softly walks it up, but offside. Somebody jumped a little too early.
I was going to say, we talk about the notes and the prep. He had the Edmonton Oilers as the third best power play. Did not realize that the Pittsburgh Penguins are numero uno.
I mean, these two are two of the best power play teams in the NHL. Whenever they take the ice, just be careful. You do not want to go up against these power plays.
And Mario's getting some camera shots here on TNT. Good to see.
Yeah, he'll be proud of Sid if or when he passes it's him for the all-time Pens leaderboard and the all-time NHL leaderboard in points. Back at the left point, Erik Karlsson going to work, the former Senator and Shark, loading up as Russ fires, kicked out by Jarry. Russ goes back to Karlsson and resets. Karlsson fakes a slapper. Russ goes down low across the ice. There is nobody there. Karlsson keeps it at the right point. Down low is Raquel, who wants to slap it around to Russ, but it's cleared down all the way by the Oilers. They can get a change. Stuart Skinner will start up, wearing 74 for the Pens, just like he did with his hometown Oilers. Letang being the quarterback for unit number 2, used to be the quarterback for unit number 1 in those Stanley Cup winning years as Jarry slows it down. Oilers catch up to the power play unit, but it goes to the near corner. Letang slaps one, hit the glass, and the Oilers clear it down directly onto Skinner, who will play this one for Letang. 28 seconds left on the 5-on-4 power play. The Oilers have yet to have a shot. The Pens moving in with speed, weaving around. I believe that is Dewar. And then here is Brazo scores! Justin Brazo!
That's right in the slot, and that's in the honey hole. What a shot there. I remember you told me at the beginning of the year about Justin Brazo scoring a couple of goals against the Blue Shirts. And he had that intrigue, but Alec, that is a bomb of a wrist shot. What a goal.
A big-time slapper, or not really a slapper, a heavy wrist shot from Brazo. And who could have expected that Brazo would have the breakout season that he's had? He's thrived on Malkin's wing, but even though he's still on the second line without Malkin, he's still doing good.
And Alec, I want to say this too. I'm looking at the lines for the pregame. You had Anthony Mantha, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points, and plus 10. He's been very good on that third line as well in the second power play unit.
Now hold on a minute. Chris Knobloch is going to challenge this for a possible offside. And I know this was a nice setup to Brazo in the slot. We'll have to see if there was an offside on this play. If the Oilers lose this challenge, they're going back to the PK.
We're going to have to see here, Alec. Admittedly, I was watching that goal myself as you got the same shots, and I didn't see an offside, but we're still waiting for the camera cuts right now to be definitive.
Well, it has to be, or they're not showing it here on the TNT side, but that was quick. Well, we'll see.
I guess we're going to get the call right now. Alec will give it to us.
Oh, offside, and Brazo is shaking his head about that one. It went from jubilation to quiet in an instant, and yes, it was. From the far side, when Tommy Novak was carrying the puck into the zone, somebody was offside by several inches, and that was Kindle.
Yep, I see it now. They finally gave us those camera shots, and you're absolutely right. Wide, probably about at least a stride and a half for Kindle.
Well, no big deal for Kindle. Just take this and move on with it for the 18-year-old.
Well, at least you're right about that, Alec, because you look at the shot board, it's 5-0 Pittsburgh. So just keep pressing here. You still got 23 seconds of power play time.
And 20 more seconds as Nurse slaps it down the ice. Skinner will start this up for Letang one more time. One last rush, probably to make up for that wiped-off goal from Brazo. Raquel takes it across, keeps it himself. Raquel to Crosby. He fires. Stopped by Jarry. And that was the 5th shot of the game for the Penguins. Raquel turned away again. And the Oilers survived that one. Crosby keeps it away from Bouchard. Hands one off. Hits the side of the cage. And it'll be Bouchard. Taken away by Crosby. Good hand-eye coordination, but Bouchard takes it right back for the Oilers. Pens on a change for the Oilers. Bouchard fires around. It'll be Shea picking it up. Ryan Shea twisting and turning to Chris Letang. From the near half boards, fired inside, and it'll be Dewar looking for Heinen. The pass a little too far. First one back is Stastny. From the near corner, Emberson and Achari. Achari fires around. Picked up at the far half boards. Now it's moved back to Stastny. Emberson. Oh, that was dangerous for a bit. Emberson still with it. Emberson getting this one back. The Oilers trying to escape their own zone. They finally do. And advance to the pen zone. Drop pass over to Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl away from Letang. Pinned down by the Montreal native. And there is a penalty here with 10:48. Fans upset as it's against Letang.
Yes, it is. You got a piece of Leon Draisaitl near the right side red line and took him down. Edmonton's going to get a power play out of this.
It is interference to call, as they said, but that's a big no-no from Chris Letang. Now, Edmonton and Pittsburgh do have similar power play numbers, but the Penguins' penalty kill numbers have been a heavy surprise from here on out. One of the best penalty killing units in the league.
So the way that they've played them, we've kind of talked about it, not just over the last 5, but the whole sheet of work, as you mentioned. Pittsburgh's looked pretty good. And again, all I can think about in the previous power play after it was taken away, you saw Sidney Crosby in the corner effortlessly getting steals, getting some shots, working the backhand. It's not disingenuous of me to say that he still looks just as good as when he came to the NHL.
And he's still going at 38 years old from the point sent over to McDavid. McDavid handles it from the far side. Slot shot, kick, save, Skinner. From one Edmonton native to the Edmonton team. That's the first shot the Oilers have had in the entire game. Hyman set up at the slot, walking it. And now out at the far side, Draisaitl, kick, save, rebound, mishandled by Hyman. And it'll be picked up by Wotherspoon, who clears it out. It'll be Jarry coming out. Draisaitl still on the ice, walking back. Slowly making his way to his own zone. Bouchard waiting for McDavid to hit his stride. Now will be dropped back over to Draisaitl. And here's McDavid speeding up into the zone. McDavid sets up for Draisaitl. Draisaitl stopped by Skinner. And it exits the Pittsburgh zone. Bouchard again from his own zone. He's taking his time with it. Waiting for McDavid to get a burst. And he is. McDavid to the middle. He lost it. Trying to fight for the puck. And immediately a whistle. It's a hook. So it's a 5-on-3.
Oh, boy. I was going to say that first shot there right in the slot, that was a good save for Skinner with the right side of escape. But now, as you talk about the Pittsburgh penalty kill, they're really going to have to work at it. And Stuart Skinner saying, come on, guys, this is my first game. I don't want to deal with a 5-on-3 already.
No goaltender wants to deal with a 5-on-3 at all. Draisaitl came close to scoring, but hit the inside the post. Instead sent Danton Heinen instead of Chris Letang to the box on the first penalty. It's Rust getting this one. The Draisaitl, he wants to make up for that goalpost shot.
Yeah, you're right. He got both the posts out somehow. That was a heck of a shot. 9:40 left in the first. It's a 5-on-3. We're scoreless for Edmonton here. See what they do.
52 seconds of 5-on-3 time, so it's ample enough time for the Oilers to do something here and take advantage of this Pittsburgh penalty kill. False start against Draisaitl. It's going to be McDavid taking the face-off up against Noah Jarry. It's won by Jarry and fired around by another former Oiler, Kulak. 2 for hooking for Rust as Jarry moves to the head to Bouchard. Evan Bouchard waits and goes across. McDavid calmly makes his way into the zone. RNH wanting to go back to McDavid. And, oh my goodness, another penalty! Delay of game!
You gotta be kidding me, Alec. Again, it's been since the beginning of the year that I work a game with you. That's usually what I do with Cooper when we see a bunch of things that we never see. Now you and I are into this. I can't believe what's happening here. It's Kulak now in the box.
Me neither. Well, I don't know if Kulak misses Edmonton already, but that's simply something you cannot do.
Yeah, I was not even close. Again, it was one of those ones, Alec, where I just don't think he got the angle that he wanted. He probably should have never let it go in the first place.
This time, the face-off won by Draisaitl and Bouchard to McDavid. All sorts of issues. Draisaitl fired it wide and a race back for the puck. Picked up by Bouchard. 5-1 are the shots in favor of the Pens. And taken inside by Draisaitl off the Bouchard pass. Bouchard gets it back. McDavid all room to shoot. Defers to RNH. Now McDavid again. Bouchard moves in. He rips it. Rebound is loose off the Skinner save. The quick attempt failed. Bouchard on the hold. Right point and into left. McDavid. RNH in front. Hyman. Kick save Skinner. Set up for McDavid again. Connor McDavid walks inside. McDavid stripped away for a moment. Goes back for Bouchard. Bouchard to McDavid. Left circle. McDavid scooped out of midair by Stu.
That's incredible. I mean, you look at all these chances, Alec, they're all between the right dot and the slot in the middle. You got Draisaitl, 1-Ts all over the place. Skinner's made 3 good saves already.
Yeah, already taking advantage of this situation. Down 2 men doesn't matter. It's all smiles right now for the Penguins, despite the 2 men down.
Yeah, got to keep doing that. Your best penalty killer is your goaltender, and you get to play against their former teams off the first game. You can't write this stuff.
Bouchard holding it towards the right circle for Draisaitl. That's his office. The 2 exchange passes. McDavid in front. Hyman, backhander. He scores! Zach Hyman against his former goaltender. And it's 1-0. Draisaitl's 1,000th. Congratulations!
Great call from you, Alec. Again, I seen this a few games ago alongside with the Red Wings and Oilers. Zach Hyman scored a hat trick last week against Detroit. As now Draisaitl is getting the celebration, the 4th fastest to 1,000. But you can't say it enough, Alec. They're just happy to have Zach back in the lineup. Get him right at the point, right at the blue paint. That's what he does.
Yeah, John, when Corey Perry left for the Kings and with Hyman injured to start the year, there was an absence of a net front presence for the Oilers. And with Hyman back, they finally have that net front presence. It's good to see him back into the lineup as the cleanup man in the slot. And he once again does what he does best. Right at the slot, giving Skinner a sense of a familiar feeling. He knows him well.
Well, now that you have that celebration there for Leon Draisaitl, as we said in PPG, it's only appropriate now that Sid gets a hat trick and then gets his celebration, correct?
Perhaps you would say that a 3-point night for Sid, in the best way, a hat trick, given that he is the Pens' leading goal scorer. 1-0 Oilers, and after 5 shots to begin the game from the Pens, it is 4 straight shots for the Oilers. And they're still on the power play with 128 of it. Drop pass, they'll go with the top unit as they have done. McDavid splits the defense! Wow! That is unfair!
You gotta be kidding me.
Oh, there's just no words to describe him. John, there's literally none.
Alec, I feel bad badly for you. I'm glad we're doing this game, but a couple of those penalties would have been uncalled for there. Here's the opportunity off the drop pass. Here's a give and go. He just gets right around Carlson, and McGorty stays on his feet. Most players would be spinning like a top. Then he gets hooked by Russ at the end. If it doesn't matter, slides it right past Stuart Skinner like it's nothing.
Oh, there was the part of me that was terrified about this game. And you know, some of my fears, maybe it may be there still, but it'll be a treat to watch him in the Olympics. Oh, man.
You are a better man than I, because when I had the game a few days ago and Connor McDavid had 4 apples, I had a rough time, but you absolutely called it right. That's why I like working with a pro's pro. Keep going.
Oh, you cannot get the words to simply describe what Connor McDavid does on a nightly basis, day in, day out, game out. He's at the peak of his career, and at the height of the moment of this season where he's playing his best. Letang fires one that's kicked out by Jarry, held in by Novak, finding Letang again. Letang drops it off, Novak mishandled it, and a race for this puck going back. Novak gets it away from Janmark. It is Ryan Shea with Andrew Mangiapane watching. Backpedaling is Novak. Novak stripped again. Manfa trying to keep a hold of him for the Pens. This battle won by Raquel. Raquel shoved by Emberson. Emberson still going after the puck with 7 minutes left in the first. And taken up now by Savoy. Draisaitl, that looked like it's offside. Wrist shot save. Rebound. Long one. And Skinner in a jam of it. Gets out of it. Not now. Stastny fired wide. Held in by Draisaitl. That was almost chaotic. Could have almost been 3-0. And the Pens get pickpocketed at their own end. Here's Stastny to the slot. Knocked away, and Draisaitl keeps a hold of it for the Oilers. Trying to find Emberson. Took a long time to find him. Draisaitl spins from the left point. Draisaitl keeping it. Backhanding it to Savoy. Stick lifted twice. Still with it, but turns it over. Raquel, who is expected to be on Team Sweden alongside Ekholm, who is opposite him in this match. McDavid from Draisaitl and Bouchard. That could be a goal of the year contender. That's 2 goals in 14 seconds for the Oilers. And this will be bounced onto Erik Karlsson, onto Parker Wotherspoon, the former Boston Bruin. This is moved up the far side, and Bouchard reaches their first wins the race icing.
I don't even know what to say, Alec. I'm going to try to just reset for everyone that's just joining us, or anyway, if you listen to it late. The first 10 minutes of this game, it was 5-0 on the shot board for Pittsburgh. Yes, there was a callback, and alongside Chris Knobloch for an offside against Kindle that negated a 1-0, but it was all Pittsburgh. And then when the doors got blown up, you had Russ there with a hook, you had interference call, you had a puck over a glass from Kulak, a couple power play opportunities. All of a sudden, Edmonton's got a 2-goal lead.
And now there is still firm control of this game. 7 straight shots from the Oilers after the Pens started off a bang here on the shot board. A callback goal in which it was originally Justin Brazo, and Karlsson keeping a hold of it. Far side pass, and then moved up the ice for Crosby out of his reach, but helping him out is Russ to negate the icing. Crosby had it knocked away from him. The puck hit the ref, and this will be Connor McDavid up for Bouchard. They both enter. Hyman trying to go to McDavid, knocked away by Skinner. Connor McDavid wanting to center things up for Hyman. Off of Hyman's skate, McDavid keeps turned away. Here is McDavid again, walking the point, splits the defense again, but cannot do anything much with that time around. 5 minutes to go. The goals from Hyman and McDavid, both on the top line. That is sweet for Edmonton. Not so much for the Pens. We're wanting to see Crosby tie or pass Lemieux in the all-time points leaderboard. He needs 2 points to tie, 3 to pass. Moving up for Hyman from his own zone is Karlsson. And this takes a bounce off a skate. The Pens shoot this one in. From just past the red line, Noah Jarry there. Hyman also. Adam Henrique knocked away Alec Regula up. Andrew Mangiapane clears this one, and it'll be Heinen who wants to knock it down. Regula one more time, up the middle, and Achari gets tied up at center ice by Mangiapane. Just does enough does just enough to free it up for Letang. And here's Ryan Shea. Shea moves it up. Here's Dewar, the former Leaf. In the left circle, shot stopped by Jarry, and the rebound covered up with a Jarry in front. My goodness.
That's a great save there for Jarry, because as you mentioned, that big rebound, it's wide open near the right side of the blue paint, but able to slide over, hold on. It's about time we take a break. It's been breathless action, and speak of that, we get another replay, Connor McDavid. I just don't know how he's able to stay on his feet after splitting the defense, but that's why he's number 97.
And that's why he's the best in the league, even for the battle between him and McKinnon. I know it's a hotly contested debate between these two, but 97 is 97, 29 is 29. And we, watching them both at the Olympics and the Four Nations, whatever it may be in international tournaments, it's always a treat.
Yes, it is, and that's the only way that you can say it. I mean, at some point, you wish they were in opposite conferences so maybe they could meet in the Stanley Cup final instead. But we'll be happy to get what we get. Maybe at some point, Alec, we can also do a game in between the Oilers and the Avalanche, because I know everybody's already talked about it. You and I haven't covered a ton of games this year, and hopefully there'll be more. But for the Avs, it seems like they're playing leagues above everywhere else. I believe they still don't even have a home loss at Ball Center, Ball Arena.
In regulation, at the very least, they have 2 overtime/shootout losses at Ball Arena, but between them, the Nuggets, and the Broncos, life is good as a Denver sports fan if for those living there.
Yeah, I don't know how they worked out so good with that, but again, you can't do wrong, as Alex said, between either one of those players. I'm having a little PTSD from the Thursday game in between the Red Wings and the Oilers when McDavid had 4 assists. To see those goals like that, I kind of wonder, maybe Connor McDavid's got his goal-scoring shoes on today more so than the Apple shoes. So look out if you're Pittsburgh, I guess.
Well, whatever shoes he has on, it's always, you always have to look out for number 97. No matter how many goals he scores or how many apples he has, it's outstanding watching him. 4.14 goals per game this month are the Oilers under Chris Knobloch.
We talk about that a lot, Alec, don't we? Especially when we get close to this calendar turn as we are between December and January. That's usually when the Edmonton Oilers percolate. Their offense looks good.
Yeah, because the Oilers are the personification of it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
That's really what they've been able to do, and Chris Knobloch, got to give him credit. Even regardless of the team he's got 2 straight years in the Stanley Cup Finals. Can't do much better than that other than win it.
Yeah, of course, they would like a win here, and who knows where they will end up in the playoffs as we go to the final 4 minutes of this action. Here's Brazo. He wants to get a goal back after his was disallowed off the offside, with Ben Kindle a step ahead that time. Brett Kulak, first game as a Penguin, acquired from Edmonton, former Montreal Canadian, former Calgary Flame, and now moving it up is Rutger McGroarty, the former Michigan Wolverine. McGroarty tried to stuff it, but can't. He gets it back, left point, long shot, rebound, all the way out, and it'll be picked up by Nurse. Nurse with McGroarty on him. Nurse slaps it in, went off a body. Trying it again is Janmark. Janmark backhands it, and it'll be now picked up by St. Ivany. St. Ivany sends one corner to corner with the Pens in control. Kindle gloves this pass down. 18-year-old, and he moves this back. St. Ivany across, and waiting is Wotherspoon. Parker Wotherspoon. Intercepted pass by Draisaitl. Crosby there to tangle him up, and this will be chopped away. The Pens take it back. St. Ivany. Oh my goodness, another hit. And the Pens got away with that one over there. It'll be first touched by Bouchard. No icing as he was ahead of the line. It'll be Wotherspoon again. On the top pairing next to Erik Karlsson, the former Shark and a former 2-time Norris Trophy winner. Erik Karlsson moving it up. Near side, over the line with Ekholm on him. Karlsson wanting to get something up for the Pens. Here's Crosby. Raquel Russ turned away. And here are the Oilers, 2-on-1, maybe 3-on-1. They hurry up. Here's McDavid with a shot. Turned away by Skinner. Hyman was open near side, but instead they go with the short passes.
He had that right side of the post covered, and that's where they elected to shoot. I think Stuart Skinner and the Pittsburgh Penguins might have dodged a bullet there. the Oilers probably could have spent a little more time there off that pregame break. But again, as Alec mentioned, you just see that look there from McDavid and Skinner saying the thank yous and all that. And then how about the thank yous and then making that move? That's not very nice.
I mean, you were just on Santa's naughty list, Connor.
Yeah.
Now you have to be on his. You had to be on the nice list before. Now the naughty list. I may have got that twisted up, but you were on the nice list before. Now you're on the naughty list. Come on, man.
So you got Matthias Ekholm with a trip. You got Heinen, Rust, and Kulak in the box. That's what started the power play parade. And Zach Hyman with his 8th from McDavid and Draisaitl, and then McDavid from Draisaitl and Bouchard. Again, when I'm looking into my notes as far as Zach Hyman, this is just game number 15 for him, and he already has 8 goals, 12 points, and is a +3. So it's a good start for him just coming back. Alec and I mentioned how much that they need him. They're 6-3-1 in the last 10 are Edmonton. Yes, they did get swept by the Buffalo Sabres this year, and they were coming off a 4-1 loss to Montreal. But the goals against have been down. It's their 3rd of 5 on the road. They got Boston and Minnesota after this, and I think that they've been playing better lately.
It's impressive that they're on this winning run without Jake Wallman and without Jack Roslovic, who's had an impressive start in his one-year deal with the Oilers.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, in between, we always talk about McDavid, Draisaitl, now RNH. They've pretty much put that first line. Sometimes they'll split that second line with that Sully Pod, Colson, and Draisaitl, but a lot of those guys on the first line making it top-heavy, but it's working right now.
Because with Connor and Leon, it works every time. They make it work because they are the faces of this franchise and 2 top 3 players in the entire NHL. Top 5, if you were the debate between Kale McCarr should be included in the top 3 or not. That's for another day. The Penguins went for their own zone but can't clear. Guess who's back out there? McDavid to Ekholm. Ekholm wants to send one to the net, and Skinner closed the 5-hole. Held inside. Hyman wants to send it back. Instead goes backhand for McDavid, who shoves away Wotherspoon. McDavid to the right point for Bouchard. Moving around over to RNH. RNH around from Crosby, who knocks him down to the ice. McDavid takes it back towards the right point. Bouchard, Ekholm. Ekholm fires one, blocked off of body in front. Hyman tried to go for the tip. Raquel stripped it away from him. The pass too far for Russ. It'll be taken up back by the Oilers. Deflected in front. Skinner leaves it, but RNH was the first to pick it up. McDavid, RNH, on the forehand backhand goes to Spencer Stastny. Stastny fires it stick side on Jarry. Skinner, who saves it. Still not used to the goaltender swaps. Still not used to them wearing different uniforms, even though they have the same masks before. Here is a down low pass for Bouchard, who stepped in. He wanted to get that one. Bouchard is shoved away by Connor Dewar, the 4th line out there for the Pens. Dewar can't pick it up, but he is helped out by Wotherspoon. Erik Karlsson now with 1:15. The first line goes for a change, so the 4th line's out there. Karlsson. This takes a bounce, and there's a broken stick on the ice. Dewar has to pick up a new twig. 1:05 left. And here come the Oilers again. They've been the more dominant team in this first period after it was all Penguins to start. A shove, and it will be the Pens wanting to move it right to left. And here's a one-on-one. Here is Danton Heinen. Fires it. Blocked by Nurse off the stick. With 49.7, it's out.
I'm just wondering, he got Karlsson off that pass back and forth before they actually got into the zone. How do you break your stick trying to make a backhand of the puck?
That just doesn't seem real, John.
That really doesn't happen. And oh, by the way, the Seattle Kraken have the late game against the Colorado Avalanche. May God have mercy on everyone at Pledge Arena. Yes, I've been there once, but for a team that doesn't score a whole heck of a lot of goals against the Avalanche on the other end, that might get very ugly.
It might. This is not what we seen from 2 years ago when they went up against each other in the playoffs. These are 2 very different teams with very different styles of play. And off the face-off, backhander save, rebound, score!
That's perfect there. Mantha with a couple of rebounds, and then right at the doorstep again. And we have this back to a 1-goal game. Pittsburgh started the first 10 minutes so well. Good to see this back within 1. Good call.
And that pass from Regula was blocked, And Jarry gets the initial one. Novak was able to get a rebound off the original Mantha shot. Wide open of a crease for Novak to fire in. Good pickup from Pittsburgh to get him from Nashville while sending Michael Bunting the other way.
Yeah, there's been a lot of underrated low-key moves in between both of these general managers over the last couple, and I love that camera shot there for Sidney Crosby. As you get yourself back into this game, keep it within one, we'll go to the second period.
A Christmas present for the Pens instead of this first period being all bah humbug. With less than 25 seconds left, and it's a 2-1 game, the Pens have life. A bump here at center ice, played backwards from Kevin Hayes. It's been a long time since I've said his name in a while. He's on the third line. He once took the second line spot in the left wing next to Malkin and Mantha, or Brazo. As there's a bump with 5 seconds. Hayes sets up in front. Stopped by Jarry with 2 seconds. And that keeps it a one-score game. He absolutely needed to have that. And Leon Draisaitl with 1,000 career points now. His Oilers are up 2-1 after 20.
And if Pittsburgh had an opportunity off of that really good back pass from Hayes just to be able to settle it down, he can't do so with 2 seconds left. He had to shoot right away. We could have made an honest assessment when he had the 2 goals in about 13 seconds that Pittsburgh almost could have done the same darn thing.
Oh, that last goal was beautiful from Pittsburgh. The defensive takeaway from this third line usually isn't, and we don't see the third line doing a lot as of late, but Anthony Mantha has been a nice pickup, whether it be on the second or third line. He's the right fit as a middle six winger, and Tommy Novak does the rest.
Yeah, Tommy Novak, Kevin Hayes, and Anthony Mantha. I know those are names that are getting longer in the tooth now, but when I look across this lineup up and down between both teams, and you got Henrique Mangiapane and Janmark, that's a big plus for the Penguins on their backhand lines in comparison to the Edmonton Oilers, in my opinion.
Well, now that you mentioned the Buffalo Sabres before as we were talking about them in the intermission here, yeah. But here we know that Jarmo Kekalainen is the new GM. They fired Kevin Adams after I can't believe that it's been 4 years in which he has gotten the position of general manager with the Sabres. And now it's the first time in a long time in which the Sabres have hired a GM with prior GM experience. What do they need to do?
Yeah, Jarmo Kekalainen, I could spend some time with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I know that it's been up and down, but honestly, I think Kekalainen has done a decent enough job. And I think for Kevin Adams to go to Kekalainen the next day, I think Adams probably already knew that his time was done. You'd have to think so, right?
You think so? After years of flirting with the playoffs in 23, then you go back every year since. You had promise with Dahlin and Thompson. You tried to build a team around the two of them. But unfortunately, the culture is just not there at all. No matter what the Sabres did, it was the wrong move. You have to have that feel of players wanting to come to this team. There's the winning culture part. When a team is winning, players want to come there. When a team isn't winning, players don't want to come there. Buffalo's in the latter situation.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to mention about them. I will say this about Kevin Adams, because didn't he make that quote in comparison to Florida about Buffalo? He goes, we don't have palm trees, we just got taxes, and we need people to want to come here and play. And you're absolutely right, and he was right about that, because that's what they need. I was going to think about a couple things, and I'll throw to you. We can just have an honest conversation if you don't mind. Because for Tage Thompson, again, that's still an incredible cap hit. He's only at 7.14. He's 28. Maybe he's not the player that's the number one on this team as far as Rasmus Dahlin being the captaincy, but Tage Thompson definitely is the most talented. Now, Kekalainen might have a little bit of an issue because Josh Norris, after this year, his no-trade clause kicks in. It's going to be tough to trade somebody like Josh Norris because since he's come over from Ottawa, he hasn't really been able to stay healthy. Alex Tuch is a free agent after this year, the 29-year-old. I think Alex Tuch or maybe Jason Zucker, the 33-year-old, once he comes back from IR, might be some trade targets I have to look at. But let me throw something by you. I know nobody's probably talking about this at all, But Owen Power, he was the first overall pick. It was in that same draft in between Ken Johnson, Matty Beniers, when the U of M players went 4 out of the first 5. He's only 23, and Owen Power's numbers, Alec, he's got maybe, 30-some games on the season and 8 or 9 points. He carries an $8.35 million cap hit. You're not going to get the same value that you would expect for him, but maybe somebody could take a chance on him. If not for Bowen Byram as well, because he's got 6.25. So between Owen Power and Bowen Byram, that's probably where I would go. That's a combined about $14.5 million between the defense. But the most likely candidates I would have to think are Zucker or Tuck.
Yeah, I would see Zucker or Tuck being the likeliest to get traded from Buffalo if we're talking about trade bait boards. Tuck being the most likely. Owen Power, we've been waiting to see him take the next step. Yet for all the years in which we are waiting for him to take that next step, he's either stagnated or, in the case of this season, his numbers and point pace have fallen off here completely. So Power, he either has to, if he were to stay here, he has to keep his game up. Either that, or if Kekalainen decides to move on from him, that is the same case about finding his game right, because this is by far the worst season of his career. You made a good point about Josh Norris. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. In fairness, though, he's had injury issues throughout his career, not just here in Buffalo, but also in Ottawa. So, and you want to get the maximum value possible if you want to get something back, because Buffalo, they stacked up on picks, and something's not clicking here. They have Radim Murtka, who's in the system, Noah Ostwin, he's in the system, and both of them are promising in talents in the prospect board. Devon Levi buried in the AHL. It's hard to get a young goaltender's confidence up when he's buried in the AHL. Another name that we need to mention, John, Alex Lyon. He could be the easiest trade target among teams looking for a backup goaltender.
I was going to bring the goaltending situation before we come across as well, so I'm glad you brought that up, because just $1.5 million over the next 2 years, and I really wanted to keep Alex Lyon in Detroit. I'm not going to lie to you. I think he's been the best goaltender. Yes, his save percentage is just outside of 9-10, but in comparison to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and you talk about Devon Levi, who had spent some time, I believe, down in Rochester, and I think they picked up Colton Ellis from the waivers, but now he's on IR. They need somebody to be able to goaltend for them, and you know what? Between Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, he's still 26. It's only a $4.75 million cap hit. His numbers haven't been all that great, but if you want to eventually get Devon Levi next year, maybe UPL could be on his way out. Who knows?
There's a lot of possibilities that Kekalainen could go with. And I know Lyon's going to be the easy target for backup goaltenders. Well, one of these teams that are playing in here right now could be on the look for a backup goaltender. Well, the Oilers, they know that Calvin Picker's having a dreadful year. Probably they should give Buffalo a call for Lyon.
I would have to think so. I agree with you 100% on Alex Lyon. We're going to see everywhere else that it goes, but for Jarmo Kekalainen, and you look at the Buffalo Sabres before we go to the next topic, I just want to reiterate this again. As they sit, let me make sure I click on the wild card again and go down. They're 14-14-4, so they're right at the mediocrity part. 9-5-2 on the road, so they're not having any problems at KeyBank. But honestly, Alec, for some of the players that haven't been able to get right up and down the lineup, there's still enough talent on here where it's not a bad starting point.
Not a bad starting point at all. Between Tuck, Zucker, Lyon, they can certainly get something back for them.
Yeah, they're only 6 points out of a playoff spot. In between 32 games played in the season so far, there's not many times we've been able to say that the Buffalo Sabres are only 6 points out of a playoff spot. So I just want to ask you a couple questions. I'm sure I'll bleed into this with Cooper as well if I get a chance to catch him next week. But what were your thoughts immediately on the Quinn Hughes trade?
What in the world? That was the first thought I had in mind, John. What in the world did we see in this? Minnesota, that they were needing something. They were needing a franchise defenseman for a while, and while they thought they were getting something with Brock Faber and or Zeev William, if you want to consider either of the two, Faber really doesn't scream franchise-altering defenseman with the stats that he's put up. In fact, for a number one defenseman, he's been okay for a while. But Hughes, he instantly changes that. I thought there was something more in a possible return for Hughes, but for Vancouver to just get that? What?
So you don't think that they nearly got enough is what they should?
Well, I thought they could have gotten at least one more first-round pick or another early-round pick, in my opinion. But, I mean, for what it's worth, not bad, but could do better.
To your point, let me make sure I say it this way, because Liam Holmgren for Minnesota, he played several games. He did not record an NHL point during the season. Marco Rossi's been up and down the lineup. The first-round pick is good, and really the only other guy in return that you got who already scored in his first game as well was Zeev William, that you think you have the big return for, because you're right. If you look at Vancouver, that's just more guys in between Marco Rossi and Liam Holmgren that could be second or third pairing forwards in the future. Maybe Zeev William will be a top four, but essentially right now they're shuffling deck chairs when these guys, to be fair, have a lot more growing left to do. I think Vancouver could end up doing well. The same thing with Minnesota that already did in this trade, but you're right. It is not going to come right away for the Vancouver Canucks in their return.
It won't. For the return to pay off, it's going to take some time to develop.
Yeah.
Boy, could be one of the best ones in this. Rossi, I can see him fitting in onto the middle six, and a Rossi trade was something I expected in the offseason. But for him to be thrown in right now, I feel this could be a fresh start for him, and he'll get a bigger opportunity in Vancouver. And when you throw in the injury issues for Philip Keedle, it is a fresh start. No shade to Keedle in anything. I hope that he gets well.
Yeah, he's just got to recover from those concussion issues, because for Philip Keedle, you and I have talked about it, whether you're a member of Blue Shirts or not. I always like the game that he brings as a good defensive centerman as well. You don't have a lot of those in the league. And again, they had that quote for Bill Guerin when they showed him the pregame before we got going. He said he found out about the trade because he was making meatballs. So it sounded like Goodfellas.
Well, it's a nice meal nonetheless.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you this. In the Western Conference, I know it's an easy button question for me to ask you, but it's been a while since we worked together. The Colorado Avalanche, the Dallas Stars, and the Minnesota Wild, they happen to be the top three teams in the Central. Are they the top three teams in the NHL? Not even in the Western Conference, but in the NHL?
Throw in Quinn Hughes onto Minnesota, and you possibly might get the top three teams in the NHL, period. Now, we know Florida are the defending Stanley Cup champions, and they're always a tough out. But Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota right now, they're playing like they're the three best teams in the entire NHL. You got the right mix of superstar forward, superstar defenseman, between McKinnon and Makar, Rantanen and Heiskanen, and now you got Kaprizov and Hughes, all on the same team, all the right mix, and that is what it fits in nicely.
Yeah, I think one more time, Alec, when we get toward those summer months and we get into the Stanley Cup playoffs, I think we're going to have to start right again in the Central, whether it would be 2 versus 3 or whatever else. We know we're going to get something, because I will give credit to Bill Guerin and talk about this trade a little bit more for Hughes, and then we'll press on. But look, I said it as far as the post that I put on X. I give Bill a lot of credit, because we talked about Parise and Suter. That was a long time ago when the Red Wings and Ken Holland at the time may be interested in that. Look, they were able to make the playoffs, but they weren't able to get the job done, all things considered. I don't think it was a horrible move to get both of those guys, but they didn't get everything that they wanted. So you end up getting the buyout. Then you know you got to pay Kirill Kaprizov a ton of money, because he is a superstar. Yes, he deals with some injuries, but he deserves to be in that same limelight as Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid. Some people will bat an eye on that, but he really is that good. So then you're able to pay him and actually keep him. And then between those buyouts as well, look, you don't have to sign Quinn Hughes right now. He's not eligible for that offer until July 1st when the season's over, but you essentially have him for a year and a half. But you were able to get the buyout. You were able to make sure you got Kaprizov signed. Then you make the move, and you can probably get Quinn Hughes signed long-term as well. I think he's done a great job.
Yeah, you can keep him around for long-term for that. And Bill Guerin, full kudos to him on bringing a familiar face. They know each other from Team USA.
Yeah, I think that organization's been well run. Now, all it really needs to be said is figuring out just how in the hell they're going to get out of the first round. But I don't care who you are. If you're the psychic or whatever else, that's almost impossible to try to get around 1, 2, and 3. Minnesota's going to have to try to find a way to get possibly a 1 seed when they're 19, 9, and 5, and they're 10 points out because Colorado's played so well. But I also will make this point about Dallas. Dallas already has 49 points as well. Colorado has been considered the astronomical team, but yet the Dallas Stars are only 4 points off the place. It's 4 points off the pace. It's unbelievable.
And here is the part where fans call for the 1-8 playoff format to be brought back.
Right. Yeah, because you're going to have those same guys in the 2-3. They're going to be playing against each other. And look, we can argue, Alec, whether or not it's fair or unfair. We really do like watching those matchups. But we had it last year. And between Colorado and Dallas, when Mikko Rantanen goes back, and we were able to call that and finish it off. But you're absolutely right, because when you play that well, it almost seems like an insult to injury to have that be a first-round opponent.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem right. You would want this to be a conference finals matchup, not an opening round matchup. Something similar could be said about Nashville and Winnipeg 2018. 2 best teams in the NHL. Second round matchup. Pittsburgh, Columbus. 2 top 5 teams in the league in 2017. First round matchup. That just doesn't seem right.
Where are your thoughts and prospects on the New York Islanders? Because about a week ago, when I was flipping in through the standings, I actually saw them in first place in the Metro for a game. Patrick Waugh, I think, is a good coach, but Matthew Schaefer and the rest of that team, especially Schaefer, though, he might find a way to get himself some Team Canada nods. He deserves it.
No, if he gets named to the final roster on Team Canada, it would not surprise me, even though Canada could be considering other options for bottom pairing lineups. We know Taves and Makar are no doubt the top pairing. We could see Josh Morrissey in the mix, Thomas Harley, Mackenzie Weegar in the mix, Shea Theodore. I think he's going to get in there. The big question are who are the 2 extras on defense, but Schaefer, with the way that he's played, if he ends up winning the Calder Trophy, it would not come as a big surprise because he has transformed the way the Islanders have played. They are playing with a pace, and they're so much fun to watch.
Yeah, that was a team under Lou Lamoriello and everything else as well that they never, ever played with pace, Alec. And I'm not going to say Stanley Cup playoff games are boring, and the Islanders have to win the way they have to win because the Seattle Kraken are playing the same way under Lane Lambert. But it's just nice to see them play with pace.
It is. Especially when you get to see Matt Barzal in full bursts ahead. The big surprise to me, Emil Heineman with 10 goals, 16 points on the season. What a surprise breakout from him.
Yeah, that's worked out well. And again, I'm surprised as I'm looking at the scoreline that the Islanders are still only up 1-0 on the Red Wings. Red Wings are one of those teams that are excellent in the third period. Bruins and Mammoth, that game is a 2-1 lead for the Bees. Blackhawks are going to have to, unfortunately, I saw that during the game when he crashed into the net, Connor Bedard. They're going to have to deal with life without him, maybe for a couple of months, but they're up 2-0 against the Leafs.
Well, it's good news knowing that they're up 2-0 against Toronto, but it stinks knowing that we will not see Bedard until January. The hope is that he makes it onto the Team Canada roster, probably alongside Celebrini.
I hope so too, because we're going to talk about that in the second intermission as well, about where the Blackhawks are, the Sharks, the Ducks, some of the other up-and-coming teams feel like they've already arrived.
Yeah, they have. Of course, the Ducks were one of the teams that I thought were going to break out this season, and I was right.
Absolutely. There's a lot of young talent. There's some good coaching. There'll be a lot to get to. So we'll get underway here. I'll take the second, maybe part of the top of the third, so Alec can close. We'll keep this one even. Crosby with a wrister. This was fought off by Jarry. And again, as Alec was talking about the goaltending names, I'm just waiting for make the mess up myself and get used to it, as Connor McDavid was off sides. This will go back the other way now. Wotherspoon, he looked at that for a moment. Good touch. But we get an offsides there from the Penguins. It is 10-10 on the shot board. Penguins did score that last goal to make it 2-1 at the end of the first.
Yeah, between Draisaitl and McDavid, they assisted on the same goal for the 136th time in their career. That passed Paul Coffey and Wayne Gretzky for the fourth most in NHL history by a pair of teammates. Nice company.
That's a heck of a shout-out by you, and thank you to TNT for that one as well. That's where Alec and I are watching this. You can also catch it on HBO Max, but I'm just happy to be alongside Mr. Nava here. He's been dealing with a lot of finals work. I've been dealing with a lot of League and Sharks work, so finally get a chance to hear our voices here on a cast. I've been really excited about it, as this is bounced up into the air between some dots right across the Pens logo. It's played it off the backhand and toward the right side dot. There's a punch against the right side boards, as the Penguins will throw this around the end boards. Now McGordy out there. Here's a turnaround chance at Russ on the backside point, as this will be picked up now by the Pens. Right in the middle of the slot and be deflected. And now Edmonton will try to take this one right to left. Mangiapane is one of those names. I know Cooper mentioned as well at the beginning of the year. We did the Flames and the Oilers, that he might be able to make a potential impact, but he really has not. As this one's swat out by the 5-hole side of Stuart Skinner, played in off the back pass. But for Mangiapane sitting on the third line, as Shea tried to get this now. He got knocked down for a moment. Good forecheck here for Edmonton. This will be knocked out of the air, picked up toward the right side dot, but you would expect Mangiapane to play better as the season's gone along. He's got too much talent not to, as this is hand-eye coordination, see if Pittsburgh can get it out of their own end. Do so for a moment. It eludes Rust. Goes to Leon Draisaitl. Here's a pass from left to right. He had a chance right in front of the doorstep, and this one got knocked away. Draisaitl had it at the point, picks it up now, and a rolling vulcanized rubber just goes out. 11-10 on the shot board. Watching this one at PPG. 8-1-3 when leading up to the first period are the Oilers, and they've been stacking up wins a lot lately. As this will be sent back down, slowed down by Jarry. And it's Ty Emerson on the third line. We'll flip this one down. This will bounce, so it's not iced. As that was a big hit that Kulak had to absorb. He got dropped right off his feet. And now one of the Oilers are down as well. Is that Curtis Lazar, maybe?
It is Curtis Lazar. It was an awkward hit between him and former teammate Brett Kulak. Lazar came into the Oilers in the offseason to be their fourth-line center. It was competition between him and David Tomashik at first. And now the concern is where the injury is on him. He played junior hockey with the Edmonton Oil Kings of the WHL. Medical trainers are checking up on him, and Trent Frederick as well. Quinn Hudson, the eldest Hudson brother. Well, Lazar's being helped up by Alec Regula, the former Chicago Blackhawk, and given by the looks of it and him being helped up, this looks like a foot injury, or who knows.
It does. I don't see if he lost feeling in it more so or anything else, but that was not a good front-end collision as he tried to brace Alec. And, yeah, I'm looking at, the right skate? Like it's crunching the boards there. He doesn't have a lot of give to be able to turn, and that does not look good as he's getting carried off into the players' room.
Hoping for the best for him in his recovery. Just nothing. We're hoping that it's nothing too serious.
Yeah, because when we saw the initial collision and alongside for Kulak, it looks like the legs were given out underneath between both players, and that's where it was. There's just not a lot of give there, and the boards couldn't bend. So Chris Knobloch essentially going to be down a forward here. It is on the fourth line, but you kind of wonder if you're going to have to jumble a little bit more in between RNH, Connor McDavid, maybe split them because you have a 2-1 lead. But it is all important for Pittsburgh, I would think, to take the lead in the second period just to not have any happenstance of what's been going on lately in the third. So now that we're underway, we're back in Edmonton's defensive end. Again, they got the road whites with the blue tops. Here's a chance toward the net for Hyman. He's trying to get some inside off positioning on his former teammate Kulak. All sorts of traffic in front of Skinner. If they get a shot off, they might score. As this one's picked up near the right side dot. Here's off the spin and turn for Ekholm. Sends it around for RNH. Now Bouchard. Rister, this one potentially blocked. McDavid, power move, one-handed. Able to get this to the left side dot. Go back to the point for Bouchard again. Slows up, makes the pass across Ekholm. As this goes back to 97. This is a flutterer toward the net, fought off by Skinner, and be mercifully put out toward the left side red line. Again, shot board 12-10, Edmonton. They got a 2-1 lead. Jonathan with you alongside Alec Nauber, watching this one on TNT. As it's flipped back on the backhand now for McDavid. Good feed. Walk-in chance, fought off by Skinner at the left side of the post. He did make the initial save. As Skinner was getting serenaded. Again, he's not used to that on this side of the building yet, but he's the new netminder. Emerson, good outlet pass, drop. Here's a wrister again, wide, and toward the right side of the post, looking for the top of the mesh. Sent back around behind the end boards now. As this is knocked away from Janmark. And now Pittsburgh in the black, yellow, the mix of all that, just like the Steelers trying to get this one the other way. They got a big win against the Dolphins the other day. As this one's sent in now for Carlson. EK 65. Remember him a lot for the Ottawa Senators. Makes this pass up ahead, but this one's picked off in the defensive end for Edmonton. Flip back up in the air. Janmark's pass. Didn't really hit Frederick all that well, but it's a rolling puck onside. Another missed chance. As his first 5 minutes kind of seem to be flowing by. Good chance to the left side point, and Alec, that's a goal that's got to be stopped. I think it's Savoy. It goes in the net, goes 5-hole through Skinner, and it's in.
Good for the young kid, though. And I know that's a bummer to give up that one. You got to have that one all the way. Skinner stopped like 90% of it off this pass from Regula to Savoy as it goes through his left pad. That's a stinger for Skinner to give up. Ouch. You don't have to do that to your old teammates.
Yeah, that was not fun there for Stuart Skinner, just like it was not against him for the 5-on-3 power play practice. Boy gets a good spot to shoot, but I mean, that's a Red Sea 5-hole that's got to be closed, but we'll see if Pittsburgh can recover from that. They get the next goal just like they did when Edmonton scored the first two. We'll be right back in business again. As this will be flipped back down the ice. Pittsburgh now off the rush. Don't know how they stayed on side, and Jarry able to close the 5-hole on the other end as we get a stoppage at 15-11.
Well, you earlier mentioned about Andrew Mangiapane. He's saying that he's much better than what he is playing right now, and you do make a good point that he is much better than what he is putting up with the Oilers in his first season. Because right now, being on the third line is uncharacteristic that we would see of him. We would normally expect him on the second line, if anything.
And Alec, I know I had to go through the annals of history here for Mangiapane, but wasn't he a goal scorer in the 30s variety for the Calgary Flames at one point?
He was.
So, yeah, I mean, you have some opportunities there. You go between Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals, and you get to play with Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl at some point. So you think he's going to be able to step up as this is played it off the backhand now, knocked away. And this would be off a couple of stick chops. And Chris Letang. Can't believe I'm still calling that name at this point. I kind of wish Evgeny Malkin was in the game. We still got Crosby, though. Here's an opportunity right in the middle of the gut. Rolling puck. Bounced around a couple of times. And the Penguins can't get a foothold on it. Regula hit this one off the glass, but it's bounced off of the Pittsburgh Penguins and then sent in the appropriated blue line as this will be an offsides apparently at 14:30.
I think this is going to be a penalty instead of an offside.
I'll have to look at it, Alec. I didn't see it admittedly at 14:30, but I appreciate you picking me up. Yeah, it looks like Leon Draisaitl going to go to the box, but I don't know what he did.
You mean neither. They are saying roughing for the moment. We have to see where exactly he committed the penalty to see. He and Connor Dewar are going after it. Yep. We see it now. He did put an elbow right on Dewar, and he did check him right to the ground with the puck away from the play. Cannot do that.
I would say on one call that's soft, but also for Leon Draisaitl, they got to be smarter than that, don't you? There's just no need for him away from the play. So that's going to give Pittsburgh power play opportunity here. Again, the number one unit in the NHL. As this pass from Crosby bounces in between some skates. Go to Skinner now, and this will be slowly off the end boards from the right dot. I have to start again. Crosby will be the trailer here as EK got stick chopped away, so Pittsburgh just needs to get settled. Back pass, that was a blind one from Crosby. That was a beautiful one as Mantha, now for EK. Get this one at the point. Carlson, Mantha play crisscross near the left dot. It's Rust. Full spin back around. Try to get this one back to Carlson. Now Brian Rust. On the right side point, a good pass. There's a bomb. Carlson scores!
There you go. Right on cue. The best power play in the league on a big blast from Erik Karlsson. And the 1-goal deficit restored. Sidney Crosby 1 point away now from tying Mario.
Yeah, Sidney Crosby's back pass won't get a lot of marks. That's why I try to mention it toward the broadcast. But the way that he was able to get that one to Karlsson is to get in the zone. And then you got Crosby there off the setup there, Karlsson. And that is a rocket and a half. Good traffic out in front. No chance for Jarry.
And you mentioned about the traffic in front. Nice screen by Mantha in the middle of the slot to take away division from Jarry and ensuring that Karlsson's goal gets in by any means. So Crosby needs one more to tie Mario. And Mario applauded that.
And I saw between Mario's applause, I saw on the left side of the screen you can get some spicy fried chicken sandos. I'm kind of hungry now after that last goal. As this is picked up the other way now for Pittsburgh and rolled back down the ice. So power play goal and even strength goal. Yeah, the same way, a couple power play goals and then one that bled through Skinner. Here come the Penguins again looking for a back pass, and that one just a little wide there for Draisaitl. This is just kept in. Kulak now at the point it's picked off. Kulak's the last man back, but not a lot of speed here for Edmonton for Chris Knobloch's squad as this one is played off the backhand now. One timer. This will be blocked on the right side. Jack St. Ivany, I believe, lost the puck. This goes to Bouchard, wide intentionally off the end boards. And now we'll try to pick it up again. Majapani had it for a moment. And now Pittsburgh. Man, that just bounces off the skate. That looked a little beer league. Is this one sending off the end boards now? Rucka McGorty now. Zach Hyman trying to find it. Is this is sent toward the right side dot? Back to the left point. Bouchard watching as this will spin. Now from McDavid to Bouchard. Another one of those bombs. It was like McGorty doesn't get it out of the zone. And Edmonton's getting some elongated ozone time here. McDavid keeps it in the high slot. Fake the slot pass. Try to give it back to Connor, but Bouchard's going to keep it. Ekholm gets taken down. And are we getting another penalty hand in the air? This is Bouchard now. PPG crowd's booing. That's what we're going to get. Edmonton going to go to the power play. Ekholm was just cross-checked.
You cannot do that in the middle of a play. No matter if it's away from the puck or right on the puck, you cannot shove down your opponent right in the middle of a play. Even though Justin Brazeau had that goal called back from him, that was uncalled for. You got to be smarter than that.
So we'll see what will happen from it. As Alec and I mentioned, he had one goal for against Skinner that probably should have not been. He couldn't hold it all. You got Karlsson on the power play from Crosby and Raquel. You got Matt Savoy from Regula and Janmark at 4:35, so it's a 3-2 game. We'll give you one of these resets as well. As far as totals here, 14-12 on the shot board for the Oilers. Hits are 12-3 Pens. Faceoffs are 16-8 Oilers. And the power play opportunities, 2 for 4. Again, that's just updated for the 4 now. We'll see what we get. But power plays have been hot at 50% for both, 1 for 2 for the Penguins.
What we see is what we get from both power plays between the Oilers power play and the Penguins power play. We're seeing the best that we've seen of these two man advantage units, and we're getting to see the Oilers man advantage unit again when we come back. As painful as it is for the Pens to see this, as a fan of them, it will be a treat watching 29 and 97 on the same power play, like it's been time and time again. But for the Pens, they got to tighten up, get back to what you do best when down a man. Over 84% of penalties killed, by the way.
Yeah, which is incredible. Again, you have to have that. That means you're a really good unit. Usually you're above 80%. Anything you're getting the job done 84 is pretty spectacular, but it's going to be tough against this team. And again, as we mentioned, what I'm about to say is going to sound quite ordinary, but I mean it in this best respect. For the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Edmonton Oilers, you're not really rewriting the history book on the power play. You have good, talented players. You got traffic in front of the net. You're able to get shots and get entries pretty easily. That's what creates a successful power play. But yet some of these games that we watch between some of these teams, they don't seem to get the memo.
Sometimes when we watch some teams, they have to do better on the man advantage. But here, we've seen the best of the man advantage here.
I really like those banners that they have for scoring titles. That's a laundry list of names for the Pittsburgh Penguins. My goodness.
It's prestige at its finest for Pittsburgh forwards. Lemieux, Jagr, Coffey, Crosby, Malkin. A lot of legends coming to this city and hockey team. And they have won championships and cups.
So we are going to have to do this face-off for a third straight time. And usually when you get to that point, sometimes we get a penalty call here, but we will just reset it right at 2 minutes. 11:54 left to go in the second. Joining with you alongside Alec Nava. And we will do this again, but the Edmonton power play has already been dangerous. Again, 2 for 4 if they don't score here. Here is another Bouchard bomb. It's just not hitting the net today. This one's not out. And then flip back down off the second effort now as Bouchard can start it in his own end. Now, if you are Pittsburgh and you're only down a goal and you're looking at something late, Bouchard's got the puck. He is a recipient for a turnover to make a bad play. Not trying to drive the needle into him, but that usually does happen for Evan Bouchard. Connor McDavid now played it on the backhand, gives it back to number 97 in between the dots, fake the slap pass, now to 97. Draisaitl is in his office near the right side, pulling reverse Ovechkin. What a pass across for RNH, but somehow Skinner got a piece of that, or maybe even wide, as this is picked up again and off the back plate. Down the left side blue line, touch pass just taken away, and again, Pittsburgh can't get the puck out of the zone. As this is picked up now for RNH, he can walk in. He goes for a back pass instead. This gets knocked away. Back to Bouchard. And at the point, McDavid plays it off the wall. Picks it back up near the right side dot. Works his way for Draisaitl. Draisaitl, dangerous feed. And this one is stopped by Skinner. Picked up now in the middle of the dots. Scores! Bouchard, top of the bar and in.
He was due. He kept firing the puck every time he got the puck where he got the screen. And finally he gets rewarded. First time around, it missed. But this time around, he saw the top of the bar and he had it on his sights.
Bar down. And again, I don't want to be mean to Pittsburgh here, Alec, when I say this, because I know it's your team, but I see it a lot with the Red Wings. Am I wrong in saying there's been about 6 or 7 times now, and we're in the middle of the second period here, where Pittsburgh could have got the puck out of the zone? They could not, and then they end up with a goal against.
I have no comments about what was just said.
So again, that kind of makes me feel like I'm right when I'm thinking about it. But that's the way it goes sometimes. It's 4-2. Again, I've had that happen to me many a times. It's now Chris Letang played in off the back pass. See if Letang can get this one here for Sid. He's already got himself on the score sheet. He was looking for Sid from 100 feet and intentionally wide. And this one now picked up for Edmonton right at the halfway mark of regulation, as this will be knocked away. I'll be putting the inboards here for Henrique Majapani, and on his back pass, as this will be flipped back down. Shot board's only 16-12, but Skinner has given up 4, and 3 of those probably aren't on him, as this one will be flipped back down. Across the left side red line. We'll trickle it right into Tristan Jarry. Started again now for Trent Frederick. He was waiting on front. RNH already stepped back on the ice. Bouchard from McDavid and Draisaitl. Again, you got 29-97 continuing to add in some points and just penalties all over the place. As St. Ivany takes a hit, makes the play, gets it down deep for Rucker McGorty. McGorty now trying to hustle to get the steal. Good work for Ben Kindle on the left side boards. Flip back and around there, Stastny. He gets hit pretty hard. This one bounced off a couple of bodies. Here's a chance in at the point. It bounces again before it ever hit Jarry. Nugent Hopkins try to keep this one onside. Over-under now sits at 9.5. We're at 6. If we get to that many, that would be insane. Picked up now off the back pass, but looking for McGordy, but a little too offsides there.
If we ever get to 9.5 total goals, that would be insane for this game. I mean, we already saw goals in bunches, but who are we to say about total goals? It's been a goal-scoring fest. If we get another power play or two, we might see some more.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's looking at right now. And again, that's just the matter of the day. Some power plays, some pucks that don't get out. A lot of chances there. You got two offenses that are pretty good and can make you look foolish. Again, I would like to also talk about Tristan Jarry and his day right now, but I just need to see a little more pushback here from Pittsburgh before I can give my full marks in this second game and alongside with the Edmonton Oilers, because I just don't think he's been worked enough yet.
Well, we'll see when he gets that opportunity where he gets worked enough, because that will be the true test for how we can gauge being South for early impressions of Jarry as an Oiler. Him as a Penguin has been more or less. He's around the league average goaltender. Okay. Not too bad, but won't take you over the top. But given circumstances, he was the best possible option the Oilers could get at the trade market.
I think you said it accurately, Alec, because I wouldn't say that Elliot Friedman in his 32 Thoughts podcast would say shuffling of deck chairs, because he didn't say it that way. Because, Tristan Jarry's got the experience, but I think you're right. That was probably the best offer that he was going to get alongside Kyle Dubas. And if you're Stan Bowman, and again, we also talked about Connor McDavid getting a little bit of a leeway in his deal, a little show-me deal, that, you know what, you're constantly trying, if you're the Edmonton Oilers, to make small adjustments where you can and get better. And I think that they did.
Yeah, they accomplished that goal. The other goal that they need to check off the board if they want to find an upgrade at third line center, because Adam Henrique, no shade to him, I don't know how much longer he can keep this up at the third line.
I would say that, but then we also would agree on the same thing. We're still wondering, I know if Ian was joining us, he would say the same thing. I don't know what they were thinking about with Trent Frederick, but he's here to stay.
Well, now merely as a fourth liner. What contract was that? Oh my goodness.
So when you're thinking about that salary cap dance, that's one of the things we always have to talk about. Neutral zone draw. This will be won by the Oil. They'll start again in their own end from 200 feet. Looking for a slap pass. A good breakout. This will be sent right in around the inboards now. Picked up a couple of times and sent back around the embankment to Bouchard as he will make a flip pass. And to the right side boards, knocked away for a moment. This goes back to Evan. He's got the latest goal. Again, I said some mean things. Not really mean, but in terms of the way it's been, and he's got the latest goal. So the reverse jinx, I apologize for that, as this is played in on the backhand. St. Ivan, he had it for a moment, but Stalikpot Colson's been excellent in that second line. He's about a plus 15 as well. He's really carried there alongside with Draisaitl. He's kind of finding his home as a great sandpaper on that second line. I like that look. Here is Draisaitl, half spin on his back skate. His pass didn't hit anybody. Sidney Crosby just missed the breakout. Still got some wheels, but again, more so of the puck-carrying variety for Sid at this point in his days with a hellacious backhand, that's for sure. Picked it on the right-hand side, looking for the outside post. Goes up the outside of the cage. Backing at the point now, crisscrossed from Shea. Sent toward the net, bounced off some bodies, and Edmonton was there before it ever hit Jarry. Connor McDavid looking for a pass ahead. This will be sent back around the inboards by Skinner. And then in between his legs, that was a poor pass. Is it in? I think he held it at the line.
I think so too. That was another close call for the Oilers, in which the Penguins, they cannot afford to give up another goal. Skinner giveaway, and then eventually it hit the skate. He didn't know where it was, and then he covered it up. If this goes across, I wonder if they're going to wave this off, because it seemed like he was pushed on his pads. But nonetheless, this is interesting. We will see for a better look, but you cannot give away the puck like that at your own crease. What even was that?
And you have McDavid just throwing it over there because he saw that Skinner after the pass wasn't all the way in the crease. And my question is this too. How does that bounce off his skate and then not roll in? He was lucky it didn't go farther past the line than it did. As the Zebra is now looking up at the replay. As Alex said, we might be getting more of a call and definitive look at this.
Well, they're checking with the situation room. This is the second time the officials have checked in with the situation room. But Skinner was lucky that the puck didn't go in the net off his skate the first time around. We may not be lucky the second time around, but if he is, then he has to have a smirk on his face, given that he just dodged a major bullet. It might be on the line. I think there isn't really any conclusive evidence.
No, the only thing I can say, Alec, again, you saw the same shot that I just got in terms of the vulcanized rubber in between that pad, but we don't know if it was pushed in prior to that because as that shot was let go by McDavid, you looked at Skinner's body language, he's still looking straight ahead. And he didn't even feel the puck in between his legs until they started whacking away with some sticks.
I know we haven't mentioned this in the broadcast just yet, but did you see that Skinner is still wearing his Oilers helmet and Jarry still wearing his Penguins helmet?
That seems like a trade out of NHL 26 when you didn't have the time yet to know what teams you're going to, but yes.
Well, yeah, we may be needing an update for that for if we're getting some future NHL games that way. If you want to design a goaltender's helmet, design a goaltender's pads, maybe customize them out so that they can match the team. That would be a nice touch.
Yeah, and absolutely, because again, he also, Skinner and Kulak had a big day because you have your immigration papers across going to U.S. franchise, right? So that's why it's their first game back in there, as opposed to Tristan Jarry being the Canadian.
Yeah, so that was the complication going from the Canadian process and the U.S. process, and it didn't take until just recently in which Skinner and Kulak were added to the team. But that was a very close look, and we're still showing it from all angles. I don't think the longer it takes, the more I may be tempted to say that they could end up with no conclusive evidence as the call.
I like your initial thought process, Alec, that you had across saying that it might be pushed across the goal line with a little bit of interference. Because when we got the latest look that we got, it certainly seems like Stuart Skinner is not intentionally trying to give any ground. He's just being pushed into his own net.
It feels that way, so the officials have made the call. We'll see what we get.
They're going to say it never crossed the line, so we're going to stay where we are here, 4-2. I do think that's the right call.
Yeah, I think so too. Even if he was pushed by the pad, I don't think there was conclusive enough evidence that the puck ever crossed the goal line. So, cyber lead for Stu, John.
We're going to talk about this. I'll make sure I remember it at the end of the game because, again, I'm not poking needles, but we will have a little bit of a post game, even if it's only for a couple minutes, because I do have some thoughts I want to share about Stuart Skinner. It might be some of the same thoughts we've had over the years, but we will press on. We still got plenty of game left to play. As this is sent back in behind the end boards now. Parker Wotherspoon, the former Boston Bruin, I believe, send this one back down. Not been so bad in the Pittsburgh Penguins uniform. Tristan Jarry's pass, not a bad one there. It springs Connor McDavid. McDavid now, backhand. He throws it off the outside of the post. He's really trying to give Stuart Skinner nightmares. Again, that naughty nice list. He's feeling mean right now with Cole in his stockings, Alec. As this goes back here toward the right side boards. This is in between the slot. Pittsburgh will settle it down near the right dot. Chance and tight. This one bounces. Turnaround shot. That one fought off by Jarry, as that was Ricard Raquel. Now on his backhand. He'll flip this one around the end boards. Here's a good collision for the Penguins. That's going to bring everyone up to their feet. Now see what they can do with it. As this goes to the right side boards. Back in at the point. Wotherspoon patient. Sends it back around the rim. And you'll see what happens down to the left side board. What a hit that was. As Carlson now off the pinch. We get a hand in the air. And we're going to get some pushing and shoving here between Rust and Nurse, but that was a car crash, Alec.
Oh, they're trading hits left and right. This is the hockey that we both love. What a hit initially, and then Darnell Nurse makes the Penguins pay after the initial hit. Though, whenever we watch McDavid play, when catching up with that most recent sequence from him, it feels like he's trying something that's never done before, even for all the superstars out there. He's trying all sorts of things. Watching McDavid play is like when you're watching football, you're watching Patrick Mahomes play.
Yeah, you're always reinventing the wheel every time he gets the offensive end for Connor McDavid. He really is. Every time there's a different move, there's always something to think about on the backside. Look, he had that shot that was just turned away, but he saw that Skinner wasn't in the goal crease. Again, that was not a goal. And then you come back down the other way, almost bounces it off the post. But he's had 5 or 6 different rushes in this game that he's brought something completely different to the table.
It's a whole bunch of speed that he has on his attributes, and he's showcasing still at even when he is nearing 30, he can still keep up with said speed. Right now he's 28, so next January he'll be 29. But nonetheless, when speed is your game and it's a defining attribute of you, you take that to your full advantage, and he does that to perfection.
Yeah, speeds, hands, passing, everything. I would say even with Alec, we're going to be on the same page here. For as much as speed dissipates over the years, as Alec mentioned, about 28, you still think you got at least 4 more years of prime Connor McDavid. And even when you start to lose that toward 34, 35, he's still a guy that's going to get you 70, 80 points probably because he's so gifted offensively.
That's what we're seeing with Crosby. What he lost in speed, he gained in hockey IQ and knowledge.
Right.
And he keeps in hand-eye coordination. So we're going to see something similar from Connor McDavid as he gets up there in age. When he loses that speed, he's going to gain in hockey IQ. What a hit from Wotherspoon on Hyman. Oh my goodness. That got the crowd up to his feet.
It did. And Hyman's the one just coming back from injury. And then Darnell Nurse, I think, trying to pick up Zach Hyman. And that's the one that got in for a penalty call. And Curtis Lazar's back out there. Alec, that's incredible considering we watched that leg bend.
Yeah, we watched that bend earlier. It's incredible that he's back on the bench. Whether he comes back on the ice is another question. We can expect him back out there anytime soon. Now he has helmet and everything. The penalty's on Nurse for interference against Rust. But nonetheless, that was a good hitting sequence either way.
I'm going to put my money where my mouth is here. I'm going to say Pittsburgh makes it a 1-goal game. I don't think they're scoring here. Crosby now. This will be sent back from EK. As he won the draw, did Sid work his way toward the net. Tons of traffic here. Good pass out and tight. And Jarry had to cancel it off with the left pad. These power play units are playing very well. Alec had mentioned between first and third, respectively, between both teams. But just like the traffic that they're getting in front of the net, getting cross-ice feeds, and I'm pretty confident just about their entries as well. Mantha splits the defense and then shoots it wide. This one now toward the right side, Rust. We'll get this one back from Carlson at the point. To the right side, down back to Rust. Combination! And that one just missed the right side. That was excellent puck movement, Alec, but this goes back down the ice. That's where Stuart Skinner is. Going to be inside the final 5 of the second period. This game is nothing if not entertaining. 6 goals scored. It's a 4-2 lead for Edmonton, but Pittsburgh got another power play as Darnell Nurse going to sit for interference. Here is Mantha off the lead. Near the right side, trying to find Rust. This goes back in behind the end boards to Sid. EK, no look pass. Rust walks in, shoots, miss the net toward the left side post. As this is picked up on the inboards, Rust's got to get out of the way. And that'll work out now for Edmonton. 35 seconds left to go on the Pittsburgh power play. They've looked very good with the man advantage. Time for one more rush here. Second unit, a 10. We'll get this one back up the ice. Picked up now, Tommy Novak, who's got goal in this game. Picked up toward the right side boards. One-timer, and this one's fought off by Jarry from Kindle.
Playing the old Phil Kessel role as Ben Kindle from the left circle where he's firing howitzers. And that time almost made its way in on a one-touch feed. This confidence continues to grow And now as he's taking the role of getting Malkin vacated as he is put on the IR, Kindle is expected to grow his game as time goes on. And I like that.
I kind of like that too, Alec, in the mix of being able to pass the torch and alongside Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Carlson, but still have some of the young players who you mentioned at the beginning of the game being able to come up, stay here for a full season. Dubas trying to get this stuff done on the fly, trying to keep it competitive while you got all the players on the ice. It's not easy to do.
No, it's not.
We flip back down now. Skinner will stop it here for Letang. The power play is down to 5 seconds. This will be flipped in for Sid. Jarry now will stop it slowly. Be a lofted pass near the left side dot. Some body contact. McDavid gets canceled off the puck. It goes to 87. What a feather, but that one just offsides.
What a bummer. I thought there was going to be a clean look onside for Crosby to rust, but nonetheless, they ruled it as such. But as we go on with Ben Kindle, and it's year one for him, but much like most of the other young guys on here, McGroarty, Ville Koivunen, who we got back from the Jake Gensel trade, these young guys, they will seem to be the future of this team in preparing for life after Crosby and Malkin and Letang.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to do, but again, you're going to have to draft well, considering where you think Pittsburgh is going to be. Now, look, Alec and I can tell you, we didn't think that they were going to be toward a middle draft pick or where Pittsburgh was going to be as competitive as they are, but this is where you are now. You're almost halfway through the season, and you might as well see it all the way through. But I think even at the trade deadline, this team could be very active. Let's find out when they get there. Here's an opportunity off the drop, and this will be stolen. They got 3:15 left to go in the second. It's McDavid again. He will send this back to the point, but nobody's home. Right across the PPG Paints logo of that Penguin. It's one of my favorite logos, I will say that, as this is another offsides against McDavid.
Hey, speak of the draft record, Kyle Dubas in the past, many have questioned his drafting ability, but with the looks of this draft early, it seems like he's hit on his picks. Ben Kindle on the first one of them. And not to mention Will Horkoff, who was one of the leading goal scorers, not only with the University of Michigan, but in the NCAA overall.
What did you think initially when Dubas came over from Toronto to Pittsburgh?
When he came over, I thought we hit a slam dunk as the general manager hire, given that we needed to move on from Ron Hextall by any means. Getting Dubas, that's a slam dunk.
Yeah, you got to say so right now from the way that it's been going. Is Jack St. Ivany, again, he's making his debut again this season. He got injured taking a puck off the foot in the preseason side, but he's out there in the third line with Kulak. So St. Ivany would be another one of those guys that they want to get. They've had just offsides bevy here over the last several minutes. 2:41 left in the second.
I know I don't want to talk about the blown leads and anything. It's best we not talk about that. The trade we got back for Jarry included not just Skinner and Kulak, but a future second-round pick that'll be from 2029. I know the Oilers don't have a lot of draft picks, but you need to get back what you can. Skinner and Kulak, I know the Penguins are fighting for a playoff spot right now, but I don't expect it to last long given that the purpose of this season is for developing youth. If Skinner and Kulak are here, it's likely for getting back any trade value they have.
Yeah, and again, as we talk about, Alec, I think there's going to be much to do when you get in toward that in a few months from now, as this is bounced in off the end boards. 2:20 left to go in the second. It's a 4-2 game. 6 total goals scored, plenty of damage done on the power play and some physicality toward the end of the second. As this will be flipped in now. Slowed down for Skinner. Have some trouble with it again and behind the net. Good forecheck here for Edmonton. The Draisaitl line was out there. This goes back to Sid for the right side point. Sid is the trailer. We'll get it now. Take another back pass. Wide open look near the right side dot. That was a great design. Put off by Jarry. Chance now Rust. Back in behind the end boards here. This is the middle of the slot. Waterspoon lets it go off that pass. Bounce hits Rust. And we're going to get another penalty call, I believe, against Edmonton.
Alec Regula gets called for a cross-check as the Penguins were setting up. Several good looks from Brian Rust and Parker Waterspoon. Crosby had the chance to tie Lemieux for points all time in Pens history, NHL history, though it will be a better chance if the Pens get one on the man advantage here.
Again, we are at the same point, Alec, as I know it was 2-1 after one, that Pittsburgh can draw within a one-goal game here late in the second.
Yeah, here at the same point, and we know where our money is. Our money on the mouth is set about a possible power play goal. Crosby could possibly use one. He's the leading goal scorer here on the Pens.
So he is out there on that main line again, as you would expect. You got Russ, you got Carlson, 1 for 3 of 5 shots. Honestly, I feel like they could have done even better the way that it's been running today. And I wish the carryover time will be about 14 seconds thereabouts. If they don't score, shot board is now 18-17 Pittsburgh, but they're down 2. Now Mantha, crisscross. Find the entry to the left side blue line, but this back pass has to take everybody out of the zone. And we'll start again. Picked up right here for Rickard Rakell. Flip this one in for Anthony Mantha. Backing around Rakell, had a stick on it for a moment. This is captain at the point. It's Carlson. Carlson now, leaving off the back pass. Here for Rakell. Throws around the inboards now, Sidney Crosby. They're keeping this like a moving rubber band here, but they're on the outside. Here's Carlson. Just at the point, Russ, slap pass. Look for Mantha in front, and this will be cleared back down. Stuart Skinner thought about going all the way out to play it. He was near the right side dot. And Sidney Crosby making the outstretched pass. One of the hardest things when you get a new goaltender is whether or not you get used to them playing the puck. As Tristan Jarry will get his own clear, Alec, all the way down to Skinner. You don't see that very often. And now Skinner will wait back in behind the net, make the soft pass, and get a chance to go again. It'll be the Pittsburgh Penguins trying to go right to left. It's Tommy Novak off the drop now. Here's a chance Letang, but that was a poor pass. And now Edmonton get a chance to kill some time. Letang gets a theft, a little quick pick there. Right up the gut. Odd man rush now. Working on the backhand. Lost the handle for a moment. One more. Fan on a 1T. And that's going to end the second period. Edmonton's got a 4-2 lead.
Can you even believe the latter seconds of that power play with that odd man rush opportunity? With the Pens were getting back on a 2-on-1 before Spencer Stastny was right on Tommy Novak's face and broke that opportunity up at the last moment. There was one defenseman back. Matt Savoy had that one goal that took an awkward bounce, but as we looked at that last power play, that those chances weren't there for Pittsburgh. Just good timely breakups by Edmonton at the right moments. It feels like all of a sudden special teams roles and penalty kills are flipped.
Yeah, I think you said it absolutely right. We'll give you the reset here for our game. We'll take it across the scoreboard before we get into some more topics. So you got Zach Hyman and Connor McDavid to begin the first period. Toward the middle of that first period is when all the heck broke loose with all the penalty calls. Tommy Novak then scored from Anthony Mantha. It was 2-1 Edmonton after 1. It's now 4-2 after 2. Evan Bouchard and Matt Savoy. Matt Savoy, 4:35. Bouchard, the latest at 9:36. But Eric Carlson answers on a hellacious power play slapper from Crosby and Rickard Rakell. Stuart Skinner, just 13 of 17. Tristan Jarry, 16 of 18. Your totals as far as this game. 18-17 on the shot board officially hits are 23-5. I can't believe it's that disparaging. Pittsburgh leads there. But the face-offs, this one's pretty big as well. Edmonton's got a 24-10 edge in the draws.
Sometimes it's not the physicality that matters all that much. The Oilers, they're dominating the face-off circle. Sometimes when you think that numbers don't make sense on why the Oilers are up, and you look at the face-off numbers, you may see why it makes sense. A dominant face-off winning in percentage rate for the Oilers all game long. Of course, the power play is the main topic. They have 3 power play goals tonight. Both teams have combined for 4 power play goals. So we expect, when we have two top 3 power plays in this game, we expect fireworks from both power plays. And we've gotten fireworks.
Yeah, we have. I'm going to give you a couple other scores we haven't called just yet. The Philadelphia Flyers have a 3-1 lead over the Canadiens. That would definitely help the Red Wings and the Lightning for that matter. Jacob Fowler just got the call-up not too long ago. He's 17 of 20 in the goal crease for Montreal. But I do want to give a shout-out to the former Flame, and Cooper Hopkins knows him well. Dan Vladar has had an excellent year for the Philadelphia Flyers. I know you could talk about Rick Tocchet Alec and I had said that many times. I thought he got fired a little too prematurely and alongside the Vancouver Canucks, but Dan Vladar's been excellent in the crease.
He's taken the starting goaltending gig for Philadelphia, and he didn't turn back. And once he took it, he seized the opportunity and has rolled with every moment since. Trevor Zegras, I thought that this trade was not going to pan out, but in fairness, he didn't fit well with the system that Greg Cronin imposed on Anaheim, and likely wouldn't have fit the system for Joel Quenneville. Here in Philadelphia, he's revived his career, and it fit the Tocchet system nicely.
Yeah, he's got his 14th on the year from connecting Emil Andre and the Bobby Brink at 1910. Philadelphia scored a late one in the second. They scored a late one in the first as well. Carl Grunstrom answers Alexander Texier, and that's why the Flyers have a 3-1 lead. You kind of wonder now, and I know that this wasn't said at the beginning for the staff of the Vancouver Canucks and Rutherford and everyone else across the board, but where are they going to finish? Because, look back up in their scoreboard. They're playing today. They're up 2-0 against the Blue Shirts. Blue Shirts lose that one again at home. They would fall to 4-10-3. I don't know what's going on with those splits. I don't think you can answer that. But the Canucks have a 2-0 lead. I was kind of wondering if they were going to find a way to bottom out, be bottom 5. But Liam Olgren gets his first point of the year. He scores from Linus Karlsson and then Evander Kane from Besser and Elias Pettersson, the defenseman.
Well, good for Ogren to get his first of the year, and what a timely opportunity. The growth of the young players is important, but now Vancouver, they're kind of in a similar situation that Buffalo is right now. Team is in shambles, and they're a far cry of what they were from 2024. And you'd wonder if there's going to be some more people on their way out, not just Quinn Hughes. We saw that with Bo Horvat. We saw that with JT Miller. Hughes is the latest domino to fall, and all of a sudden you're wondering, who's next? And I wonder if I'm Brock Besser and Connor Garland, and you can include Thatcher Demko, if the Canucks keep on losing the way they are, if I'm D's free, I gotta wonder, and this question may be running into their minds, why did I stay here?
Yeah, and you also ask yourself that question. I know it was maybe difficult at the time because you think about JT Miller and a lot of the other guys that they lost over the years, and then you go ahead and you sign Elias Pettersson, the forward, and then he becomes a ghost, essentially, Alec, and then you're kind of stuck with him as well. So you don't feel very good about that.
To be fair to Pettersson, he's amped this game up this season, gone back to what he was in preparation for the Olympics, that is. And that's necessary if Vancouver wants to hit the hard reset button. But fans like Buffalo, they're blaming the GM for mistakes. But all the mistakes from both Buffalo and Vancouver, and I watched this on one of the Hockey Guys' recent videos, but all the mistakes, they all tie into ownership. The Pigulas for the Sabres and Aquilini for the Canucks.
That's one of the videos I have to watch. The only one I did see was after he made the reaction for the Quinn Hughes trade and used the volcano explosion emoji. So I knew I had to watch that one, but I do have to get back into the video that you just talked about because I know he's got good knowledge. And like following Shannon across because it helps give us both prep as well. Vlad Tarasenko gets his fourth of the year. He scores right at 2:09. They got a 1-0 lead on the Caps. Charlie Lindgren, 16 of 17. And Philip Gustafson, 15 of 15. And I keep forgetting, they also have David Juracek on the back end out of Czechia as well, the 22-year-old. So it's not like the Wild don't also have other defensive prospects that they can use. They look pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Minnesota, they are set for the future. And this trade, even with Marco Rossi gone, it gives another one of their prospects, Danila Yurov, more opportunities in the top 6. And perhaps playing next to Kaprizov is exactly what he needs if he wants to get his career going.
So let me ask you this. I alluded to it a little bit in the second intermission. I just want to get your thoughts, have an honest conversation again about it. But you think about Utah, maybe a little bit less. It's unfair because you have the holdovers from Arizona and you essentially get to absorb that whole franchise. But maybe specifically the San Jose Sharks and the Anaheim Ducks and maybe the Chicago Blackhawks to an extent as well. So Sharks, Ducks, Blackhawks. Do you think that they're officially out of their rebuild? Because right now the Sharks are actually holding on to a playoff spot. It's tight, but it's good to see.
It is good to see San Jose and Chicago coming out of their rebuilds. Chicago, I feel that they might have overachieved a bit to start the year, and reality may be starting to settle in. But without Bedard, they may need to hang on to dear life for that, because without him, it's going to be a long ways away from getting anything going. So but he'll be back on January. You got to wonder how things go with a full season of Bedard at the helm. Celebrini and Will Smith, oh, they're such a treat to watch, John. And then the Ducks, I can confidently say, yes, they are completely out of their rebuild. And I expected this for them to be out of their rebuild ever since they hired Joel Quenneville. But nonetheless, it's a nice boost watching guys like Leo Carlson, Mason McTavish, and Jackson Lacombe, who have been huge boons for Anaheim.
So here's my only thing about the Ducks, and I know this also stems in between the Red Wings and the collapse that you usually get between March and April. The Ducks are a very young team, and they got a lot of talent, as I said. And right now they sit second in the Pacific, just ahead of the Golden Knights in a virtual tie. But you do wonder with a young team like that, whether or not they maybe falter down the stretch. I certainly hope not, because I agree with you. I do think the Ducks can hold on to a playoff spot, but it'll be tough when you think about, especially Connor Hellebuyck coming back. The Jets aren't all the way out of this thing yet, but maybe as far as the Central they could be. But there's still probably one team in the wild card that is going to lose their spot. So if you're the Ducks, I would try to do as much damage as you can. Hopefully you don't have to end up in that WC.
Hopefully not. And how about the Los Angeles Kings? Well, as opposed to last year where they were dominant at home, they're dominant on the road this time.
They're doing enough. 4-6-4 at home. So again, they haven't played a ton of games at Crypto, but the 9 overtime losses kind of stick in your craw. But at the same time, I guess that's how many Vegas has as well. And I guess if you just do enough to get in, maybe they can do it like they won the Stanley Cup a long time ago. That's how they kind of got in now. Didn't they have about 40 wins, and they end up getting in alongside Jonathan Quick and Doughty and company and all that? So maybe they're trying to go for that same process.
One last go around with Anze Kopitar.
Yeah, because that's really all I'm seeing. I don't really have a lot of other stuff to bring to you as far as this. If you have any other topics you want to pick our brains on, we can. But we've gone across the board. I guess I'm a little bit surprised. Look at the Columbus Blue Jackets. You talk about the Sabres, stayed at 32 points. They placed at 33, but I really don't like seeing the Columbus Blue Jackets dead last in the East.
No, given storylines, it doesn't feel right at all. I know it's free, and Anaheim has just tied it up, but they're better than this.
Ian, you get a chance to join us here. It's a rare time that we get all three of us in on the broadcast. It's not for the lack of trying. I know everybody's been busy, but we enjoy having you here. And this game has been all about power play goals. It's a 4-2 lead for Edmonton.
Yeah. I've been paying attention, and it's, man. You know, I saw Bedard going on IR, and I just shook my head. You know, hopefully if he's out long term, you know, the Hawks, I don't know if there's much they can do. But if he can come back and the Hawks can at least tread water until he does, no, I really have so much hope for this young Blackhawks team. Jeff Blashill is taking a team. Last I checked, they're currently winning against the Leafs without Connor Bedard, with a team full of adequate veterans and kids. Right. They have 4.5 minutes left before victory is secured.
Yeah, it's going to make for a good Steve Dangle video.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, even with Oliver Ekman-Larsson pulling the Leafs within one. But one of those goals, Jason Dickinson on a shorty. But Chicago's doing just enough to hold on to this without Bedard. Frank Nazar, someone I pointed out having a breakout season. And also with the grizzled vets like Tyler Bertuzzi, Dickinson, Teuvo Teravainen, Andre Burakovsky, who's a good pickup from the Seattle Kraken side. Ryan Donato, an absolute steal of a keeper.
Yeah.
That's all points that you guys have made well and good, and I agree with you because we said that over the stretch. I would wonder this. If I am the GM in brass and alongside for Kyle Davidson, and I try to figure out what I want to do and try to piecemeal around the Bedard injury, do you really want to go at the deadline and significantly add and maybe lose a couple of your young pieces? Because I think they're going to kind of have their hands tied, is my guess.
No. I think here's what you do. And tell me if you guys agree with this. You go with what you have the rest of the year, depending on how long Bedard is out. Is it being confirmed that he's going to be out for the rest of the season?
He's out until January.
Out till January. So we're going to be like middle, beginning, and any timeline?
We're hoping at least before the Olympics because they were trying to get him in a spot. The only way you can do that is if you already name him. But I would say February at least.
All right. So, February. Here's what you do. You go with what you got for now, and that way you can clearly see what you have without him. If they're able to tread water, or by all accounts, if they come out of this with a winning record without Bedard, then I'd say, because, remind me again, gentlemen, when is the trade deadline?
I'd have to look it up admittedly, Alec, but we're usually around that line in February, correct?
I think it may be the first week of March. I got to check again, too.
Okay.
All right. But it all depends on Bedard's condition and where the Hawks are.
March 6th.
Okay. If they're still in the hunt for the wild card, like really in the hunt, I'm not talking 4 points back. Like they're 2 points or they're tied with the team with the same amount of points that's already in there. I would say this. You try, as for they have a pretty good prospect pool, and not even pretty good. It is full of first round talent. So, and they're all around. Actually, no, forget that. I would say go the whole year with the team you have, because so far that team is playoff contending, and I think for the Hawks, that's what they should be shooting for. You wait until your core is established before you start making the trades to go for the cup again.
I agree with you, Alec. I agree with you, and I'm sure Alec feels the same. I'm looking at this now. I tongue-tied myself. The cat has helped the Red Wings take the lead. Maybe they'll win a game against the Islanders this year. $1:38 left.
Hopefully so. Alex DeBrincat, what a time. And on the power play as well, what's been a chaotic first period. The Red Wings originally took the lead at first on a DeBrincat power play, and he's done it again with a man up. Now all you need to do is hold them off on this 6-on-5. Oh, the Leafs have tied it.
Oh, yeah, they have. It's 2-2 now. Who scored?
That would be Austin Matthews on the man advantage.
Feels like he needs that a lot. He gets a lot of flack about maybe not having those 60, 70 goal seasons. I know Berube wants to use him. Maybe I'm not going to say 2C. That's what Steve Dangle said. I know he's a defensive guy first. I think Austin Matthews is much better than that, but I still would say that Alec, he's a 40 goal scorer.
He is definitely a 40 goal scoring talent and would be worthy of top 5 in the league at his peak. He's much better than what Craig Berube is trying to put up.
So OEL from Matthews and Nylander at 9:59, and then just on the power play, Matthews from Nylander again. Joseph Woll, good to see him back in the goal crease. 22 of 24. Spencer Knight, 21 of 23. We will keep you posted. As we get set to go into this third period, Alec, do you want me to take the first 10 and you close it, or you can have the whole third? It's your team.
Hey,
Sidney might break some records here.
Hey, to be fair, I'll be fair and say you take the first half, I'll close it.
Okay. 46-0-0. Am I seeing that right? When Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl get 3 points or more per game? My God.
That's just otherworldly, John.
Well, here we go. 4-2 is your score line. The shot board's pretty light. It's 18-17 across. Power play has been able to do a lot of the damage as Rust. Send this around the end boards now. Crosby will take a look at it. Again, Crosby's got 1 point in this game, but need a couple more here. Try to tie this one up. Is this to Spencer Stastny? Again, Elliot Friedman had talked about it, and Alec mentioned that third-round pick that they used. He's got all the tools. He had to get the mental game and everything else back in on lock, but they like his defenseman ability. He got him from Nashville, and I think he's going to fit right in. Here's a rush, and toward the right side, pass looking for McDavid, as this will be sent down the other way. Pittsburgh's going to need some help. Walk-in chance looking for a backdoor feed, and that one goes just wide. As Draisaitl now will pick it up off the crisscross. It's McDavid out there with him. And Bouchard, Hyman now pinched in. So Chris Knobloch's got all the big boys on the same line right now to start this third. Just a minute expired. Having Bouchard. And from the point right to left, Bouchard off the give back. As this goes to the right side boards, McDavid. He had an all-world goal in that first as he was able to stay on his feet and tuck it past Skinner. Played it on the backhand. Now turned over one more time. And this is a diving shot block, knocks it away. That was loose in front of the slot. Here's a chance now on the back skate. And toward the point, played off the back pass, try to go around the horn, but this is coughed up again. And now Darnell Nurse lost some puck possession, slowly puts her on the left side blue line. Start again for Letang. Wrap it around the end boards now. Anthony Mantha centered in, stopped by Jarry. Put it on the backhand of Regula. Had it for a moment. Henrique tried to get this one out of his own end. Again, the Edmonton Oilers and the road whites with the blue and the orange striping as this is picked up by the Pens. Mantha, patient, looking for a feed for Rust front, and that one gets knocked away as this will get picked back up. Mangiapane had it for a moment. He will work his way toward the net. And off the spin and turn now. Janmark, Mangiapane, one more pass. This one off the outside of the cage. Loose in front again and blocked by the Pittsburgh defense. Looking for a breakout flip. It's Mantha. He doesn't have enough for a breakaway. Still gets a chance in the backhand off, though. Nice work for the former Red Wing and Flame as this one's chipped in off the glass. And now Henrique to get this one out across Pittsburgh's logo. Back toward the left side red line. Picked up on the backhand. Here's a give and go from Crosby. That's good work to get in the zone again. On the backhand, chance toward the net for Jarry. And a whistle as it plays below dead at 17-13 with traffic in front.
A close call at the front of the crease off the give and go. And Tristan Jarry, good thing that he's okay to play on the other side of the breakout feed for Anthony Mantha. And Spencer Stastny, you mentioned about the defensive ability to get him. Edmonton needed someone as Brett Kulak was having a nightmare start to the season. So they shipped him off of the package, and this is where Stastny comes in. Not a bad replacement for Kulak. He's lived up to the third pairing defense.
And Stastny was a fifth-round pick, if I'm correct, alongside for Nashville. And they flipped in for a third, and honestly, it seems to kind of fit the bill because all he really needs to do is be the stay-at-home defensive defenseman. If everything else takes care of itself, Alec, Edmonton could do pretty well with it.
He could be a steal for Edmonton in this trade.
Chance to the right side point, Jarry able to fight it off. As this one now be collected to the left side dot. Podkolzin coughs it up. as this goes to the point now. Parker Waterspoon off the back pass. Leave it here for Pittsburgh. Again, hopefully I didn't miss too many names. It's the first time I called a Pittsburgh game in a while. It's probably since the Jake Woolman Gritty it's been that long. As it's picked up the other way, sent back around the horn again. Shot board still 19-17. Pittsburgh only down by 2. And this game does not feel like it's over just yet. As it's sent back in behind the end boards now for Darnell Nurse. Nurse make an outstretched pass from right to left. And then for Zach Hyman, but this goes back to him from Zach. Start again from the left side, red line, RNH. Touch pass. This will be recollected at the line as Letang will throw this one back. 16-10 left to go in the third. John Ott here with you alongside Alec Nava, Ian Genji watching this one from PPG Paints on TNT. Sent back and remind the inboards now for Pittsburgh. They're going to try to go left to right in the mix of the black and yellow and the white striping. This one flipped in. Picked up now away from Emerson. Back in at the point now for Pittsburgh. Lets it go. Good right pad save for Jarry. And all sorts of traffic in front. Couldn't see it, but he made the save anyway. RNH. Got Hyman with him. RNH shoots that one spot off by the glove of Skinner. As this will be picked up now on the left side dot. Now I'm toward the point. Find an entry here. And a wrister. This one blocked off the referee. This will get picked up there. Nugent Hopkins lost it. This is sent back around the corner. Now to the left side dot. Crisscross in the backhand, and Shea gets the recollect. He's kept on the outside, try to wrap him behind the net. As he goes back to the point for Chris Letang. Send this one in for Rucker McGordy, number 2, from where U of M Michigan standout. This will go back to the point again, Letang. He's patient. Want to keep a passing off the outside of the horn here. Kindle with a drop pass. Goes back to Letang. Fans on it completely. This is loose on near the right side. Connor McDavid helps get it out in RNH. One more pass ahead. About 4 minutes away from handing this one over to Alec Nava. We're just trying to get Pittsburgh a victory and see Sidney Crosby break some records. Already got Draisaitl's 1,000th point. And it'd be good to see Crosby celebrate on his own home ice. As this will be knocked away. Turnover off the body check. Chance toward the right side point again. Mark tried to send it out in front. And that was Hudson, as this one goes off Skinner. And we get a stoppage at 14:32.
And Quinn Hudson is Oiler debut this season. We talk about the Hudson brothers, Lane, Cole, and now Quinn, all of which play for the same college. And it's nice to see Quinn Hudson finally get his chance. He's part of this Oilers system, signed as an undrafted free agent, and finally gets a chance.
So Tristan, Jarry, Stuart, Skinner, they're showing the numbers, and Alec almost remarkably similar, is it not?
Well, all except for the save percentage. The GAA is basically is essentially the same, but now you're making a slight upgrade in net, knowing that Jarry is having a bounce back season this year.
It'd be a D-zone draw won by Pittsburgh. So we try to push this one the other way. Shot board 2019, still 4-2 lead for Edmonton. Power play goals aplenty for both sides. As this one will be knocked away for Nurse, and we'll pick this one back up toward the left side red line. Majapani just eludes him. This goes back to Tristan Jarry now, stuck with the stick blade. Jarry's got a lot of time back there. Stasny gets the recollect. This is flipped in, no icing. Referee waves it off. Stuart Skinner, that's not a good pass behind his net. Not a lot of velocity behind those passes. You notice that. Because this would be way offside against Edmonton.
You got to make better decisions than that, because we remember about the first turnover that Skinner had behind the net. That was not a good one to make. Almost repeats that same mistake. Just this time, there wasn't chaos at the front of the net, and he's lucky.
Yeah, I don't want to pick on him too much here, but Alec, I mean, we're playing on an ice surface, are we not? And then when you get the puck on his blade, he's just throwing it like turtle speed. And that's going to create too much forechecking opportunities, especially for a team like Edmonton. So hopefully try to clean that up a little bit, or if not, get used to it with his new teammates.
I know we haven't pointed this out in a while, but I want to give a little meanwhile here. In the NBA Cup Finals, San Antonio up 61-59 on the Knicks, and Devin Vassell with 12 points. They have Victor Wembanyama coming off the bench. He's just coming back from injury.
And I still can't believe they knocked off OKC.
Me neither. We expected that game to be close, and I knew it was a trap game for the Thunder, but for the Spurs to outright beat the Thunder, that's a franchise-altering victory for the Spurs.
I don't think that's too small for you to say that, Alec. Honestly, I'm going to agree with you there because you know that both of those teams in the Western Conference are going to be seeing a lot of each other, and those head-to-head matchups, especially in a scenario like that, mean a lot. So I agree with you.
Yeah, we know these two are budding rivals with one another. We know about the Battle of Texas, all three battles of Texas, the I-10, I-35 between the Rockets and Spurs, Mavericks and Spurs, in which the Spurs are already in at. But when we see the Spurs and Thunder in the coming years, it's going to be a treat seeing SGA and Wembanyama. And even when you take into account big men, Wembanyama and Chet, two leading DPOY candidates perennially.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. I got to mention this too. 8 seconds apart after the Austin Matthews goal. Welcome back to Toronto, Dakota Joshua. They come back from 2-0 down and win 3-2 to the Leafs.
Unbelievable. When we thought that Chicago had it wrapped up, no.
So we'll give you an update on more of these goals and finishes as they come across. We still got 13:40 left thereabouts in our game. Utah and Detroit's going to play tomorrow on TNT, but I got to take the missus out to eat, otherwise I'm going to get in trouble, so I won't be here tomorrow. Carlson now. Off the back pass, it's loose. Crosby had some good traffic out in front. 13:20 left. Pittsburgh trying to get back into this. Good hit against Draisaitl. But he's able to stay on his feet. Podkolzin helps him get the puck. On-man rush. Draisaitl right at the net. Oh! It is stopped and then it is in. Nothing Skinner can do there. It's 5-2.
Vasily Podkolzin off the rebound from Leon Draisaitl, who now 1,001, and he continues the career point totals up and going. He already got 1,000 earlier tonight, and I feel it's a dream come true for the Oilers. All bah humbug for the Penguins. Nothing that Skinner could do off this 3-on-1 rush. What are you supposed to do?
It bounces off of a couple of skaters, and Podkolzin essentially, he can breathe down Stuart Skinner's neck as the rebound gets that close to him. 5-2. That's a little bit more unlucky than anything else. With 13:13 left in the third. And this is making me not feel very good for you because that's what I had to deal with about a week ago between these two playing against the Wings when it was all McDavid. But Edmonton's starting to really find their stride. I know Shannon said this on the Hockey Guy as well. You'd see them cruise up on the power rankings, and that'd be no surprise because it's getting closer to that calendar turn of 2026. So this is back in behind the office here for Skinner. Darnell Nurse gets nutmeg with the puck. It'll be recollected now. Mantha start this one again. Picked it off the back pass a little bit too far there for Pittsburgh. As this is played in off the wall, trying to get sent right back. And Pittsburgh's got to get more pucks here to Tristan Jarry. 2 shots, 4 assists is Leon Draisaitl. My goodness, the reverse there. As this one goes up and on the net. I know it's early here, but I'm just going to hand it to you the rest of the way. Hopefully you're better luck than I.
Hopefully so. Perhaps a 3-goal comeback could be in the works, if anything, it could be. But the Pens and Oilers, I know the third period has not been kind to either of these two franchises. The Pens as of late. But if there's anything that we can point to on this recent skid for the Pens, they need Evgeny Malkin back badly.
They sure do. I will tell you this, the Columbus Blue Jackets get a big win. I know Alex, the play-by-play Fantilli from Johnson Orwinski, 4-3 OT, went over the Ducks.
And good for Columbus. We mentioned they need points. Well, they got the 2 points that they needed. Pass right in front. Jarry was there, and somebody got knocked out. And we have a penalty coming up against the Oilers, and that's Ben Kindle, who was roughed up. As if we need any more people getting banged up after what happened to Curtis Lazar earlier in this game. He is on the bench, and Kindle still skating around, trying to get back onto the bench. Adam Henrique, or rather Zach Hyman, watching for any possible errors as Letang moves this one up near the penalty box doors. Kendall is still out there. He fought off the pain as Hyman touches up. We're going to get the call.
Well, I give that kid a lot of respect because I thought he took a stick toward the mouth.
Ooh, yeah, and he's finally going to go to the bench. And what a warrior this 18-year-old Kendall. He got high-sticked. And it's remarkable that he kept upright because that looked ugly. Emerson, the penalty.
Yeah, that's axe chop there, chopping some wood against Kindle. For him to stay out there, that's going to give you a lot of respect amongst your teammates. And it's a 4-minute double minor.
So now a golden chance for the Pens to get back into this game. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm scoring on both of these halves. Raquel spins this one around after the faceoff. Back to the point, Carlson almost deflected up front. Held inside by Russ, looking for Raquel, cut away. Russ and Raquel trying to keep it inside. Russ does so. The Pens 1 for 4 on the power play. This shot almost got towards Jarry. Didn't miss by much though. Here's Manfa. Turns it around onto the near corner. Intercepted by Savoy, but it's taken up back by Carlson. 30 seconds gone here on the 4-minute double minor. Here's Carlson who walks the point. Carlson's tipped in front. Reached Jarry. He stopped it. This puck played by Crosby back all the way for Anthony Manfa. Going across the ice. That looked like a hand pass. And it'll be touched up. That was clear as day.
Still plenty of time here. As Alec mentioned, it's a double minor. That friend Kindle, he was a recipient of a high stick. And this power play units look good. They just need a little bit more damage here. And I'm going to say it again, Alec. I think Crosby's going to get on the score sheet. He's going to get a goal here.
He is due. It could be fitting that we see Crosby from Carlson if we were to see the point that ties him with Lemieux. Gotta get one for the fans here. Just one. Only one more. That is, one more. Here's Eric Carlson who gets away from Vasily Podkolzin, who leads the Oilers in plus-minus. Carlson all tied up by Podkolzin, one of their better defensive forwards, and it's cleared all the way out. And Edmonton really needs that valuable defensive expertise on the forward side. Podkolzin provides that, certainly. Manfa drops it back, and moving it up is Carlson. He's the one activating with the speed. Up the far side, too far. Regula knocked it away. Darno Nurse also out there. Russ tied up. Picked up now by Janmark, chance to clear. And here is Podkolzin, who's coming in with Draisaitl if he hurries, or rather Nurse. And here's Janmark, who fumbled the puck for a moment. Reaching back in time is Raquel. And finally, we can see some changes. Carlson will take his time of it with 2:20 left on the man advantage. Carlson has Kindle to his left. An excellent warrior after that sequence. Fired inside and picked up at the far side by the Oilers. They can't get it out. As Letang fakes the shot, he looks to pass, does so across, and going towards the far side now. Pass back, and Novak gets it over to Kindle. Kindle, Novak, bumped once, keeps it, left circle, stripped off the puck, and cleared it out. This Oiler penalty kill is starting to turn it on at the right possible time, and it gets the best power play in the league. Impressive. Here's Letang, who moves it up through the middle, and here's Brazo moves it towards Kindle, slipping and falling, but clearing it out are the Oilers. And here's Henrique, who takes his time with the puck. Just simply fires it around the net, not taking any chances towards Stuart Skinner. Brazo picks it up, once again setting things up for Letang. Here's Kevin Hayes, who goes back for Kindle. Ben Kindle, the 18-year-old who played junior hockey with the Calgary Hitmen, loses it and is cleared down the ice. Fans are getting impatient here as Crosby comes back onto the ice. Will we see him get the point that ties him with Lemieux? Le Magnifique is in attendance. Raquel moves it in. Here's Manfa, who goes across the ice for Rust, who lost it and gets tackled on the ice and cleared down again. The Oilers are doing a magnificent job this time on the penalty kill.
I would say so, Alec. Again, the one thing I have to mention, too, it just seems a little too by the book right now for Pittsburgh on their power play injuries. Need some shots.
It just gets some shots. Just one shot. Anything. Crosby gets tangled up, but the puck comes to Raquel. Raquel also tangled up. Podkolzin was hounding both of them. Kept inside by Manfa. Rust to Crosby. Crosby fires! Shut down by Jarry. Racing to the puck. Carlson wins that race. Is held inside. Back to Sid. Across. One-timer. Save Jarry. He says no to Sid. Tying Lemieux.
Well, we can say it now. That was his best of the game. We asked for shots, Crosby. Near the top of the dome there for Jarry. That was a heck of a wrist shot. And then now from right to left dot, you'll see the crisscross. One-timer, Jarry able to make the save with the right pad and close it. That was a great denial. Good sequence.
So we can say our first impressions of Jarry as an Oiler looking positive so far. And that is continuing to be the case up against his former team. Pass across from Carlson over to Rust. Rust drops back for Carlson. Carlson across. Manfa holds. Now back for Carlson. Erik Karlsson looks towards Rust, holding, firing, and has sent wide the net, excuse me. That was Jarry, who stood his ground. Rust, Raquel, both there. Crosby also tried to help out. RNH also there. Do we see McDavid? No, it's Henrique. Puck taken away by the Oilers, and here's Nurse. Moving up the middle. McDavid on the right side. Nurse elects for the change. It'll be Stuart Skinner picking this up behind his crease. And here depends with it. Letang sends it back. Letang of a long stretch pass. It takes a bounce directly to Edmonton. Here the Oilers back with it. McDavid spins from the far corner. No shot as it bounced off the skate. Here's Draisaitl. Turn it over to McGroarty. McGroarty sets up Kindle. Ben Kindle. That looked like it was offside. Spencer Stastny paired with Ty Emberson. A stay-at-home defensive pairing duo. The Pens can't find the net here, and they gotta get shots onto the goal, no matter if it's 5-on-5 or the power play. McDavid to the net again! Snagged out of midair by Skinner!
Well, he finally got one up there on his former teammate there. That's a heck of a baseball-style snag. Able to make a power move past Shea, try to fight off Connor McDavid. No chance, but the goaltender bails them out.
What a save by Stuart Skinner. We were waiting for when we were going to see one of those saves from him. And finally, he gets his chance. And Pens fans, they are getting frustrated with the lack of goals here in the third period. Crosby's best chance was on that window-tight shot. That top right corner had the smallest window, and it just was kept out by Jarry. It might have bounced off the mask.
Yeah, it was. And again, that's kind of the point that I brought home there. I'm glad that we talk about it, Alec, during that 4-minute double minor, because the last 40 seconds of that Pittsburgh power play that was extended looked really good. You go ahead and get some shots, you get some puck movement. I did notice over maybe some parts in the second period and all that power play, what I meant when I said by the book, throwing it around the horn, trying to be patient, trying to find some entries, keep it on the outside, run your passing. Well, sometimes you just don't have enough time for that, especially when you're down by a couple goals. The only way you're going to be able to make something happen is if you actually put pucks toward the net on Jarry. They did that toward the back end, and I liked it.
Yeah. Throughout the power play in the 4 minutes, that's what the Pens need to do more on a more consistent basis, and not just with Malkin out. You got to have it on all circumstances.
Right.
And even for a team with no expectations into the season, and with the development being that you got to test Jarry, make a save here, make him sprawl out, and make him look uncomfortable.
Yeah, we can see more of that, then we can see what ends up happening with the Edmonton Oilers. Again, it was a good save, as you mentioned earlier, for Stuart Skinner. Hopefully we can see more of that. We'll talk maybe for a couple minutes before I bounce out for the post-game and maybe what you think. I don't want to say anything too disparaging after one game for either or, but I do want to see Pittsburgh here fight the last 7 minutes or so here. Maybe get another one, maybe tie it. We'll see what happens. Just get a little closer here and see what we get, because they certainly seem to be game for it.
Yeah, with 7 combined goals, we know about the 9.5 goal spread total. Just one last beat before we get back on the power play. I want to give a shout out to the Washington Huskies men's soccer team on their first ever national championship, winning the College Cup over the NC State Wolfpack. And here's a shot that went off the post. Could have been 6-2 for the Oilers, as here's Erik Karlsson galloping in, but it gets taken away by his fellow countryman Matthias Ekholm. We're going to be watching these two on the same squad in Sweden for sure, the Olympics. But now here's Quinn Hudson. Perhaps he could get a goal to impress both Lane and Cole. Here's a long shot that is wide. Trent Frederick picks it up and sends it back to Emberson, Stastny, McDavid. McDavid advances ahead. What more magic can he do? McDavid will defer. Slot shot blocked. Comes back to Stastny. Stastny back for McDavid. Number 97. He will gallop and go past the defense. Ho, 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 ho. That's just not fair at this point. Even though it wasn't a goal, that's just not fair the way he dangles past the defense on a nightly basis.
This is one of his more memorable games that I've noticed for Connor McDavid. That's saying something, but I believe it.
Yeah, it's 5-2, and for him, it's just another day in the office. It's Tuesday for him. Nearly turned over, skipped by a Penguin stick. 5:30 left in regulation, and all the Pens need to do is just get some life onto this. Get something to inspire confidence in this crowd for this team's future. Perhaps one of the young guys could get a goal. Maybe McGroarty, maybe Kindle. Here is a pass intended for McGroarty that Jarry got out the way of his stick. And a good save there. So on the marks here for Jarry, who's been on it and well past its good games here so far. His first true spectacular save in this building as a member of the Oilers on that 4-minute power play. Here's Wotherspoon firing one, stopped by Jarry from the near corner. Picked back up by the Penguins. Wotherspoon on a spin and turn. Wotherspoon feeds it to Shea. Knocked away. Ben Kindle can't hold it. And this puck loose. Here's Janmark with it. I thought that play was going to be blown dead. No, we keep on going. Janmark in search of help. He'll just instead defer to wind some more clock down, trying to prevent the Penguins from coming back. It's 5-2 Oilers. Alec Nava, John Ott. 4:25 left in regulation. The fans are getting restless. 4:20 left now. And up for the far side, the Pens move up with Achari, the former Boston Bruin, former St. Louis Blue. The Oilers pick it back up. And one part of me is hoping that some Pens fans would do some shoot the puck chants, as we may have noticed that one game between the Hurricanes and Panthers in last year's postseason. The Oilers move back up 3-on-2. Here they come on the rush. Cross-ice pass, stopped by Skinner. Not allowing a rebound chance for Podkolzin.
He had a good chance there off the rush, as you mentioned. We'll take one more TO before we get a chance to finish this game off. The one thing I'm starting to notice, and Alec and I had talked about it a little bit in the first and second period as well, when you get close to that calendar turn for Edmonton, as we mentioned, they start to play really well offensively. Well, this is the second game I've seen for Edmonton over the last week or so between now Detroit and Pittsburgh, two teams that really don't have any problems putting pucks in the back of the net. And it seems like the Oilers are starting to play pretty well defensively as well.
That's what we expect from the Oilers in the Chris Knobloch era. We first saw it in 24 when they had that 16-game win streak, when it wasn't the offense that was buzzing, because we know that the offense can buzz, but it was the defense that was the revelation. The defensive intensity picked up, and now they're finally picking things up. This time around, Paul Coffey isn't on the coaching staff, as he is more on an advisor role with the Oilers, but now they're picking up defensively. With Stasny acquired to replace Kulak, pair him next to Emberson. The two of them have played nicely on the third pairing.
Yeah, they have. And again, I think that's what you need to see. Let me give you one more of these resets before we get out of here, not too much longer. The San Antonio Spurs, just starting the third quarter, essentially, they're up 67-59 on the Knicks in the NBA Cup final.
And even though Wembanyama is coming off the bench here, how about Luke Cornett, who's filled in nicely? Though and the Spurs signed him to a 4-year deal, the main purpose for him was to be the backup center to Wembanyama, but he's filled in nicely as a starter. He even had a game-winning block on the Magic too.
I can't believe I'm looking at this lineup and I still see Bismack Biyombo. He's actually on the Spurs.
I mean, he's gone on for that long. It's amazing how long players can go for this long and they don't lose a sweat, filling in some nice roles. How about Dylan Harper with 8 points off the bench? First player on the Spurs to wear number 2 since Kawhi Leonard.
Absolutely. Again, they were just showing some of Sidney Crosby's main point totals here. Let's try to get a little more here with 3:45 left.
Oilers lead 5-2. Alec Nava, John Ott here. As McDavid still back on the ice after that TO. Pens take it away. Here's Carlson. Carlson to Rust. Crosby's also out there. Still on the hunt to tie Lemieux. And that may be what is in sight here if the Pens were to score now. Here's Anthony Mantha. Drops it. And Rust tries to stuff it onto Jarry. The puck kept in by Raquel. Empty net here for the Pens. Down by 3 goals. Need to get something. This shot towards the goal. Fought off by Jarry. The Oilers trying to clear it down, but it's held in by Carlson. Popped. And tie score! Rust!
3:09 left in the third. Alec, can we get a reverse comeback?
Who knows? Could it be? We don't know just yet, but we know about the Pens and that uncanny losing streak about the blown leads. Beckett, Seneca, 0.1 seconds left, which I'm still out of my... I'm still not sure how that happened. It was a double deflection on the original shot from Erik Karlsson. It will look to be empty net away penalty no matter what. Rust, the initial double deflection was shut off, but then Rust gets the backhander right by Jarry at the end. So it is a 2-goal game now. Don't go yet.
No, you got Rust and Mantha. That was a good little slide across. Rust scores, and you got enough time. Take it away.
3:05 left, and all of a sudden the Pens have life. You still need to get Stuart Skinner out of the nets. That's the first accomplishment, so I make it 6-on-5. The Pens are essentially playing an expanded version of power play time if they are to pull Skinner. There is loose lumber on the ice. The Oilers are saying no to pulling Skinner out of the net. They're saying, stay there. We know you're from our city, but stay there. We want you there as much as possible. We do not want to allow a second goal. Long shot stopped by Jarry, and now you can pull Skinner.
Yeah, right off of Kevin Hayes' chance there. 2:37, still tons of time. Like what they did consistently throughout this, still Pittsburgh trying to get traffic in front of the net. You're going to get more of those shots there for Lemieux. You get another opportunity for Sidney Crosby. And you get one more goal here with about 60 or 80 seconds. You got a real chance at this thing. You just got to keep the pressure up.
Of course, Crosby's back out there. Sid the Kid. Of course, he went from Sid the Kid to Sid and the Kids. He wins this faceoff, trying to spark this unlikely comeback. Crosby goes to Carlson. Long blast blocked off a skate. Rust the hole. Crosby to pass back. Carlson loads up. The first to Sid. From the right circle, fires a kick save, Jarry. Held in by the Pens, and the Oilers trying to fight it off. From the far half boards, Letang on the hole twice. It is cleared out, bouncing towards the Penguin zone. Carlson wins the foot race, so no chance for an empty net goal. The Pens still alive here for 2 more minutes. Crosby still out there. Raquel fires it in. Picked up by Bouchard first. Wanted to fire this one out from the far half boards. Rust. And it looked like McDavid got knocked down. No call. Mantha sticks it. Crosby had it bounced off his stick. Crosby goes back for Carlson, who backhands it onto Crosby towards the goal. In front, the shot. Swing and a miss. Rust had a golden chance to pull within one. Carlson to Crosby. And that pass was broken up. Carlson tried to keep it in the zone. But a good job by Carlson not to get an empty netter from the Oilers. Letang finds Carlson. 1:28 left. Moved up for the far side, and the Penguins in trouble here. The Oilers pick it back up. McDavid can ice it. He will. Connor McDavid wraps things up here in PGH.
Man, I hate to root against Connor McDavid because, again, even being a diehard Red Wings fan, I still really like Pittsburgh, which is sacrilege to some, but you just can't get away from this guy. They were so close. You had Crosby looking for Mantha right in front, a little bit of a swing and a miss, as you said. And then the empty net the other way, no problem for 97.
But that was the closest that the Pens have had to making this an interesting game. And all that's left is bah humbug in the end. Just, we all know what McDavid is capable of. And that goal showcases what he can be as a player. Not just offensively, but also one of the more underrated players defensively.
And you got both McDavid and Draisaitl with 4-point games tonight. My goodness.
And Draisaitl's came on all assists. It's unbelievable what they can do when on the ice. And so the Oilers are 1-2 away from improving into 49-0-0 when McDry each have 4 points. It's just unfair watching the two of them having 4-point games each. The damage that they do, whatever they do on the ice, they're just electric to watch. So fun as a duo. It reminds you of watching a prime Crosby and Malkin together. Just outright outstanding stuff. Here's a shot that goes out of play, and it's 35.3 left in this one.
Yeah, it's a good call by you, and it's something I should realize more when we go back into this game. But yeah, you're really watching what Pittsburgh's been able to go through all their timelines. You could talk about Gretzky and Curry and all that too, or Lemieux and Yager, or Crosby and Malkin. But yeah, it's the same timeline, and all that's really left for those guys, as Alec and I have talked about, is just winning a Stanley Cup. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and as all the small things plays out, the Oilers did all the small things well and to perfection tonight. A plus all across the board. A plus on the power play. A plus at even strength. A plus defending. And you would say the first impression of Jarry has gone on to an adequate start so far. And even a spectacular save at that. Here's a goal that makes it 6-4, and we surpassed the 9.5 goal total. It's Danton Heinen.
I guess we did. Yeah, Danton Heinen with the dink and duck. I didn't think we were going to get here, Alec. I mean, admittedly, as you said, both of these teams can be very good defensively, but a lot of these goals that we've seen today against between both netminders, I would say maybe 2 of the 10 were stoppable, other than the empty net.
Well, the empty nets, there's no questioning about this one, that one, because it was a wide open, yawning cage. But nonetheless, Danton Heinen, I guess, welcome back to Pittsburgh, as he got the call from WBS. But the Oilers will pull away from this one. Leon Draisaitl, 1,000 career points, 4 assists, and 1 big 6-4 victory for the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, I give you tons of credit, Alec. As I said, I always love working with professionals such as yourself. It's been a long time since you've been on the call. Hopefully I didn't mess you up too bad tonight. I feel like it was a good call for both of us. I enjoyed it. I wanted to see you get the win, but we had a lot of offense today. Here's the one thing I will say. I know the first 10 minutes of the game was all Pittsburgh, and you could talk about the way that maybe momentum subterfuged a little bit with those penalties against. You had Kulak. After that, with the extended 5-on-3, I get it. There's probably a couple of goals that Stuart Skinner would want back, especially the second that bled through. But the only thing that really worried me about tonight, it wasn't the moves that McDavid made, but he had 2 or 3 or 4 chances where Skinner was trying to play the puck behind the net, and it felt like a 1,000-pound weight. And then we talked about it in the second period as well. The scoreline was close enough in a 6-4 loss that if Pittsburgh had a few more cleaner entries moving the puck out of their defensive zone, they could have got a win today.
Yeah, this could have been more interesting if some of the entries were cleaner for the Pens. If you take away some of the erroneous plays from Stuart Skinner, then we could be looking at a very different game. Just got to work on clean in-zone entries on the offensive zone. Got to bounce back to what makes you great on this power play to see if this can be sustainable, because top power play in the league is a big surprise, but a welcome one for Dan Muse and company. Just good to see the Penguins are competing. I'm not expecting much come March, but it's progress for this young core. Got to make them grow their game and grow their confidence.
So I don't want to say this to drive the nail, but I do think it's going to turn around, and it's going to need to do a little bit quickly for the Penguins. So that was a 5-game homestand. And they went, 0-1-4 or 0-2-4 in the mix of it? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so they need to pick up some wins, but they're going to be playing Ottawa, a back-to-back against Montreal, Toronto, and then Chicago. I know it's a road stand in 4 of the next 5, but I definitely think Pittsburgh can beat those teams.
Well, that's why you play the games on the ice. Because these are winnable games. The Penguins could have had those winnable games against San Jose and Utah. The 5-1 and 3-0 games. Those were winnable games that slipped away from our grasp in the third period. You gotta have to tighten the defense up. This is where Brett Kulak comes in. This is where Parker Wotherspoon comes in, because these two are 2 best stay-at-home defenders. Erik Karlsson and Chris Letang are more for the offense. Wotherspoon's more for the defense.
Well, I appreciate you, Alec. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully you get a chance to catch up soon, well before the Olympic stuff starts. How's school and everything for you? Getting all that stuff finished up or what?
Just finished finals. The first semester is done, John. All A's across the board. Whew.
Holy cow. Well, I guess I would expect nothing less from you, because I always call you the human encyclopedia. You're a much better student than I.
Hey, we all start somewhere.
We'll take it. We have some fun here. So I appreciate you. We'll be talking soon, okay?
Hey, we'll talk soon, John. See you then.
See you.